here. This is what I'm gathering. He's going to girls' OnlyFans to ask them what Destiny's done to them. It's fucking psychotic. If you're gonna get mad at anybody, mad at the guy that you're kissing his ass to.
Okay,
he's literally
like
confirming his biases. He is open in explaining this. He's been very open about it, very transparent about that. You're choosing to ignore it. I'm not. I'm simply being a little bit more
I have concerns
objective than
about the efficacy of the article. I have concerns. It freaks me out that he's writing this article. That's why I did the interrogation of Mr. Girl. I had concerns about the efficacy and how he's going through with his investigation, how he's collecting his information. People have brought up concerns.
So then you agree with me on my position then, right, Smith?
No.
Well, then why don't you agree with it? Because I literally just said what you said.
Because I haven't read it.
It doesn't matter about what we're saying. We're talking about the investigation. Fuck the article. The article is its own thing. We're talking about the investigation, not the article.
You can have criticisms of the process that he uses to make his article, and I think that is what Zonia is criticizing.
Exactly.
Her main criticism was that he has a dogmatic point of view and that he's only going to use...
You can make that observation by looking at his process.
You cannot say that his article is going to be dogmatic and dismiss anything.
I didn't say shit about his article. I said his process. It is a biased investigation.
He didn't say it about his article.
It is a biased investigation where he's openly admitting to cherry picking only the information that confirms his bias, and anything else he's throwing out as inconvenient or part of a cult.
He actually said, he was asked if he finds anything good about Destiny, if he was going to bring it up, and he said no, probably
I asked
not.
that. I did ask that.
I just want to point out, probably not, didn't he?
Right, he did.
Yeah, thank you. So Zonia's conclusion is pretty much obsolete.
He said probably not because the article isn't about what's good about Destiny.
Exactly. It's all about everything that Destiny is doing wrong.
It's all about confirming Max's biases.
So if I want to write an article about how about how somebody online has a TV in his fucking thing, if I find information that he doesn't, I have to write everything about him. I have to write his dick size. Any information I find about him, I have to put it in.
No,
I'm going to write information about his fucking screen.
If you find information that literally tells you no, he doesn't actually have a TV in his room, then you would have to go and say, oh shit, I don't actually have something to say about this then.
The thing is, I can see the TV with my eyes.
Congratulations.
I feel like that's how Mr. Girl feels.
Okay, I get it. Everybody wants to yell at Smith. I got to defend Smith here. One of the things that were brought up was the fact that he was contacting one of the people from Destiny's Past over OnlyFans. I think if you are doing some investigative journalism, which I do not agree is what Mr. Girl is doing because of the process by which he's going about it, contacting people through means like that is not abnormal at all.
No.
In fact, any sort of point of contact that you have that you can take advantage of that doesn't invade upon the person, you should be taking advantage of that. I think that
is invading upon the person.
Well, here's the thing. If he genuinely thought that Stephen was abusing people and he thought there was something that to investigate there, then absolutely he should be digging into something like that. Maybe not him though, because of his biased approach, that he's literally going to cherry pick everything. He's not going to include information that would disprove his case. So he doesn't really care about the truth. It should be somebody who has a little bit more of an impartial view.
There's information that
it should be like an actual journalist who has an impartial view of this investigating it, not somebody.
Wait, hold on. There's information.
Cherry pick things to confirm their biases.
There's information that this.
Begging the question of whether or not both sides are begging the question right now of whether or not he is doing this with malicious intent, or if he is doing this because
I don't know if it is
a good.
I have more reason these days to believe that it's probably malicious, but I don't really care if it's malicious or not. I care about the confirmation bias approach that he's taking. That's the thing that bothers me, and that's the only thing that bothers me.
I'm 100% confident that if he finds information that proves that something that he's putting in the article is false, that means that thing is going to fucking not be in the article, and that he's been doing that.
I can tell you, Smith,
no,
one of the problems
if he disproves
it,
if he finds information that would disprove the thing that he's claiming, he would not include that, I don't think.
False. No,
there's no way.
For example, the thing that just came out about somebody
everything he has told us tells us that it is all confirmation bias. He's very open about the confirmation bias.
Well, the thing that was just tweeted about that fucking Destiny said that there were people fucking going to him and spreading lies. He said he'd never put any of those in the actual draft of the article because he couldn't confirm them. So I think that actually
literally said on his stream
he's only putting things he can confirm in the article.
Well, he's already
no, that's actually not entirely true because somebody just came out to Stephen and let them know that they just told him the other day that
Did you read it?
Max that they made the
They were
whole thing
lying.
up.
Max
Yeah.
said that shit that they made up. He said that many people came to him and they told him shit. They fucking made up shit to fucking confuse him and ruin his article. And he never put any of those stories in the actual article because he could never confirm any of them.
Can we go back to pretending that this whole article isn't like based on him just being upset at Destiny?
Okay.
Like, that he really feels bad for these women.
Everybody is baking in their assumptions about this and then just stating it as fact, and I think that's a little bit weird. If somebody
you guys are doing too.
hey,
That's
no,
what this
I have not done any of that. I haven't said a single thing like that. And
But you're
maybe
about to.
save for Smith here. I'm the biggest Mrgirl fan here. I've been called simp for Mrgirl probably 80% as many times as Smith has. So here's the problem. The person who said that they were lying, he wants to include what they said in the article. That doesn't mean that he wants to say that everything that they said is truthful. It could simply be that here's an example of the kinds of behavior that people are fans of Destiny engage in. They will go to you and they will lie to you to try to interfere with you, trying to look into him. We don't know things. There are things that we don't know, and I think it's really weird. So for anybody who thinks that I'm weird for being a fan of Mrgirl, one, a bunch of other people, or thousands of other people, were fans of him before he decided to cut ties with Destiny. And the other thing is, shoot, that you're just you're assuming so much, and then you just state it as fact. You're not saying like, well, this seems kind of weird. I'm gonna draw these kinds of connections. That's not what anybody here is doing. They're taking their biases and they're saying this is a fact.
So
that's very weird.
Drosy, he's openly admitted on his streams that anybody who doesn't agree with his position is part of a cult or brainwashed. Do you agree that that's pretty fucking crazy? That's like dogmatically crazy, and that is not the mind of somebody who is taking an impartial approach to investigating this situation.
Yeah,
I don't think that it's
I think they're
crazy.
saying that it doesn't matter because it doesn't speak to the validity of the article.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, if his view is that anything that doesn't agree with his narrative is part of the opposite bias, right? Is something that he is dogmatically opposed to, then why the fuck would he include that? He's boxed himself into a purely dogmatic perspective of this.
His view is not that anything that doesn't agree with his perspective is some cultish lie. No, his view is that people that agree with the narrative that Destiny has put forward.
That's not what he said. They said literally, if you don't agree with him, then you're brainwashed or part of the cult. That's what he's saying.
He's saying that if you follow Destiny's narrative,
no, that's not what he's saying.
That is what he said. And if you don't believe that, you're a fucking retard. But I don't believe
let's get Ginger go for a while.
First of all, I'm really, really sick of this narrative that only people who are like sycophantic about Destiny are against Mrgirl. So the idea that there's only people from Destiny's side ruining whatever and joking about this stupid fucking article that are only Destiny ass kissers is absolute bullshit. Stop coping. A lot of people don't like Mrgirl, and it has nothing to do with Destiny. No, most people who dislike Mrgirl don't know who the fuck Destiny is.
Yeah, and it's pure middle school tier, just tribal fucking behavior.
Prior to Destiny, there was already, prior to Destiny, a lot of the YouTube community already didn't like Mrgirl. Destiny had nothing to do with that. There was a huge community on YouTube that did not like Mrgirl, and they just viewed him as the dude who made the Weird Cuties review, right? And that I'm not saying anything whether they're valid or not in that, right? But that is evidence of a group of people who think that who dislike what Mrgirl is doing, and they don't dislike him just because Destiny dislikes him or Destiny has an issue with him. That's evidence of an entire group that has a different reason, right? Those people couldn't give a fuck about Destiny. As somebody who used to be a Mrgirl fan, I will say that reaching out to people that are so far like going so far into Destiny's life that you're reaching out to people who haven't even contacted Destiny yet, who don't even know Destiny, who've never had contact with him before, and those people are reaching out to Destiny being like, hey, this guy is contacting me. that is an issue. That's a little bit weird. Just like Sick said, if Sick had gone and contacted people in Lav's life to the extent that people on the peripheral who had never talked to her before, who only knew of her, were reaching out to her saying, "Hey, this guy is contacting me about her." I would have criticized Sick on that too, right? But this is what Mr. Girl is doing. It is weird to be doing that. I'm somebody who has appreciated his work in the past, but this seems very spite driven to me.
Speaking of spite driven, there are people in my chat right now that I've had to, for the first time ever, had to block in my chat because they're saying things that could cause direct, real world harm to Mr. Girl simply because we're talking about him. Okay.
Just assume they're all
who
my
cares?
chatters. Okay?
So let's forget about like the chatters. Let's focus a little bit more on like.
Wait. No, this speaks
involved,
this speaks to why somebody might feel okay. So Mr. Girl didn't stream before any of this. So we talk about calling something a cult or saying this is cult-like behavior. When you have people who show up in somebody my size's stream and they're doing something that's trying to hurt somebody, like for real in their real life outside of this streaming shit, I understand how somebody who isn't a part of this stuff.
Wait.
would
You
seem
don't
very
think
much
I've
like
had that
that.
from
Same thing.
Mr.
I've got
Girls
the same
fans?
thing.
I've had the exact same thing from Mr. Girls fans, and I'm sure there are plenty of people in this call who have had the same thing from Mr. Girl fans, where we've had people come flooding into our chat, fans of Mr. Girl, who are coming into our chat, who are saying things that are, towing the line very seriously.
I don't think this is
Okay,
towing the line.
No, I also just want to say that you said that Mr. Girl didn't stream before any of this. That's true. But his Cuties review did come out way before he met Destiny. And that's why
commentary community-
most people were pissed off at Mr. Girl to begin with. And that's why most people who are fucking insane go into other people's chats and say that kind of shit. Not because of what he's done to Destiny or what he is about to do to Destiny. We don't know. But it's about the consequences of his actions previous to meeting Destiny and after meeting Destiny. Has nothing
5 more
to do
minutes
with
on this
actual
question.
Destiny.
The commentary.
The next one.
Stardust, I just sent you a direct message about what's being said in my chat. Are Mr. Girl fans doing that to you?
Let me take a look here.
To be clear, if the reason you dislike Mr. Girl is because of the Cuties documentary, you're a fucking retard. You need to grow the hell up. You need to watch things with a level of media literacy. If that's the thing that makes you hate him as a person, that's it. You by now it needs to be very clear that that's a stupid reason to hate the person.
Well, kind of like a little bit of a segue, not to like change the topic because I know we're going to it anyway. But honestly, like that's the thing that Max should get back to. That's what he was good at. That's what we all enjoyed. He made amazing videos, right?
Yep.
Sucks that he's been deplatformed from YouTube. Hopefully he'll eventually get that back. But that's what we loved about him. But then he kind of spiraled out of control after the Dr. K thing. He was supposed to be doing some big old expose on Dr. K, ended up turning it into like a short little meme video. And he hasn't put anything really substantial out since then. He's just been in this rut content wise, and he's been weirdly obsessive since he got to streaming. Dr. K, Steven, right? It's like he needs to check himself. There's something wrong there. He needs to kind of get back to the things that he loved and enjoyed, that he flourished in, and that the rest of us also appreciated. That's what he needs to get back to, instead of this weird, like obsessed ex-lover shit that he's been doing.
To
Like,
be clear,
this
and
shit's
I'm
crazy.
to be clear, and I don't know this, so that's why I'm gonna go to Drazi, who is essentially our scout. My understanding on how he approaches that, or he thinks of that, is that he actually does see this documentary as a natural extension of that, because the thing that he found insidious about Dr. K, he thought was weird inside of this space, and now he thinks it's something that stems from the nature of people that are powerful in the space. Nonetheless, of course, his fucking videos were way better because he had way more control, and he's a person that needs so much filtering, and sometimes he's able to do it inside of his own videos. But yeah, number one critique, I think everybody, no matter how fucking positive you are about Mr. Girl or negative, number one critique, the man's first drafts make the room set on fire. That's just like that's what he's most fucking famous for. He is not a person that can be unfiltered. We need an Omni filter, we need a boop filter for fucking Mr. Girl's anything. It's what Drazi's trying to be, I think.
I would just reiterate that the commentary community had their whole falling out with Mrgirl like way before Destiny did, a year and a half before.
But the thing I was trying to say was I don't think I think that if you are saying that Mrgirl, it was implying the people that don't like him because of cuties are brainwashed in relation to the article. I think that you're full of shit. I think he's saying that the people that are coming at him with Destiny's direct narrative are the people that are brainwashed, because that's the narrative he's challenging. So if you tell him the thing he's challenging,
if you don't agree with him, you're brainwashed.
Okay, well that's what he was talking about. Why don't you fucking take my word for it?
No, I'm
Why
not going to
should
do it.
we?
I'm going
It's
to
kinda
take
obvious,
his word.
'cause
I'm
it's
going to
kinda
take his
Why
word
should we
for it.
take
Not
your
yours.
word for it?
You are not.
Bro.
You are not Max's
It's
translator. You're a
fucking
shit
obvious.
translator.
It is
It's
fucking
fucking
obvious.
obvious. Trust me.
Wait,
And keep
Trust
in
me,
mind
trust
here,
me,
Smith,
because it's obvious.
Smith, keep in
Trust
mind here,
me,
there are
because
multiple
it's
people.
fucking obvious. You
There are
fucking retard.
multiple people on this
Why is
panel
he
know
so
Max
mad?
better than you do. So
Okay, I don't
you can
care.
fuck off with that shit. You don't know
Okay,
what
I'll
you're
go fuck
talking
off with
about.
that shit. Why don't you
You're
just not
just a
ignore something that's
sycophantic little
fucking
retarded
obvious?
fucking fan, dude.
You know,
You're literally
Yeah.
a little fucking kid chasing after his coattails. You don't know shit about the guy. You don't actually know him. You're a fucking retarded little fan. That's it. And you're somebody who copied all his rhetoric to try to make yourself famous. You're just a fucking hack. So fuck off with this shit. You have people on here disagreeing with you who actually know Max personally. Get
Zonia
fucked.
and I
I
were
don't care.
friends.
I think that you're
Zonia
ignoring
and I were
something that's
friends with.
fucking obvious because you're a liar. I don't think you're a retard. I think you're a fucking liar. You're a piece of shit.
Zonia and I were.
I don't really care what you think
wait.
I know you don't care. I don't give a fucking shit what you
Like,
think about me.
Smith, ask me why I would care what a hack
No.
who copies someone else's rhetoric thinks
I
about
don't
me.
fucking care.
You don't have your own
Fuck
brain.
you.
You're
I
a
don't care.
clone.
You're a
an
piece of shit.
actual
I don't
exact
care.
fucking cheap, shitty copy clone
You're gonna
of
shit on me, and I'm
Max.
gonna talk
All
over
right?
you. You're gonna shit on me. I'm gonna talk over you.
Sonia,
Okay,
trust.
so-
You're
trust-
nowhere near the masterpiece.
No,
dude.
yeah, you're a fucking
Just a
retard.
cheap knockoff.
Blah, 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 blah. No,
Cheap
as
fucking
long as you're gonna
knockoff,
just talk
retarded
shit about
piece
me,
of
I'm gonna
shit.
talk over you.
You gotta trust him, all right? Because Max isn't emotional. He knows because he's not emotional either.
So I will reiterate for the panel here that Zonia and I were friends with Max on a very deep, at least I felt on a very deep level. Okay. So when I say that this seems spiteful, I'm saying it as somebody who used to be friends with him. Somebody who really did look for the best in him. Even Max himself has admitted, like, my interview with him helped humanize him to the broader politics community, and it's something I'm still proud of. But yeah, somebody who's known him on a pretty, to me, what feels like a pretty, intimate level, it feels very spiteful.
If it pleases the court, can I talk to Smith for just a moment, horse to horse?
Hold on.
30 seconds.
Okay, I'll let you go, and then we're going to the next question. So go ahead.
Thank you. Smith, there are very few people that are as passionate about Mrgirl's content as you and I are. And when we're in a situation like this, where we get to talk to not only other people who have strong contentions with them, but to a broader audience, I think that you and I have, if you care about the content that he makes, I think that we have a little bit of a stronger responsibility to try to engage a little bit better than screaming at people and calling them retards, so that we can get people to understand what we're saying. You're going to cancel out a bunch of people that want to hear important things that I want you to be able to say and be heard. So, I mean, it's fine to think that somebody's being retarded, but, like, you got to consider the context
I don't think
here,
she's
man.
retarded. I don't think she's retarded. I think she's lying.
All right, that's fine.
don't
We're
think
going to move on to
it's
the next
fine.
question. All right, we need to feel the love. All right, next question. Laugh. Is she a misunderstood person, or is she an evil fucking psychopath who's bullied off the internet? Okay, how about you go first?
Who goes first? Let's hear
Zonia.
The options.
Let's hear six
Sure, I'll go.
Six.
She already called my name.
Okay. Fine.
Evil is not really a term I use to describe people, but I think she really enjoys the attention and the praise that people give her, and feeling like she's important and like she's part of everything, and like she's got the information, which is why she often, drops names and shit, does the name dropping thing, and tries to drop, like secrets about people that she's privy to. And I think because she got a lot of backlash from that in a unique way in this space because of how critical people can be, I think she realized that she doesn't have a lot of purchase doing that without significant backlash in this environment. And Max became sort of a shelter for her because of the kind of backlash he was dealing with. And she's sort of riding along with what he's got going on, which allows her to continue doing the thing that, you know, makes her feel like she's getting the attention and praise that she needs and validates her, while still being able to sort of play the victim card by pointing to Max and saying, well, look what's going on. I'm his star witness. You know, he's my symbolic father. We're both abused by Steven, etc. It's not my fault. So she sort of has this shield to fall back on. It's a shield that, like, a lot of us have been chipping away at and trying to show her that it's not
Evil
actually an effective
Fossil.
shield, but
Thanks for
there's
the
not a lot
follow,
you can
my
do to
guy.
convince her. So
You're
I
number
wouldn't say that she's
420.
like some evil person. I think she's constantly trying to feed her ego and her need for attention and validation, and she'll do that in whatever way is available to her.
Beautiful.
And that's what we're seeing here.
All right, Tuna Chip.
I want to hear what Sick has to say.
I mean, I don't know why you want to hear what I have to say.
No,
I don't
we'll
know
get
much
to
about
Sick.
it.
Tuna, go.
Yeah, we'll hear what Sick has to say.
Yeah, we'll get there. So Tuna, go.
I know the spot. Okay, do you ever go into the fridge and you want to just eat the cheese out of the bag, and Mom's like, you need to have your lactate first. I don't think that Lav has a single coherent amount of being understood or not understood. If you ask any given person what they know about Lav, what they don't know about Lav, you're gonna get a fucking insanely wide array of opinions. So I don't know how to put my fucking finger on the pulse of how many people know what and don't know what. My opinion on Lav is that Lav is like Mrgirl, not that different from other people, but at the same time is not very responsible about what places on the internet she's going. I think Lav's just like a normal fucking girl, which is an insane opinion to some people. I think she's a totally normal person.
She's a
but
normal
who has
fucking
no-
nearly quarter-century old woman. Come on, he's doing the fucking little girl thing. Come on.
The little girl thing?
Don't infantilize her. Don't
you can
infantilize
respond
her.
after it. You can respond when the show's over. You can respond.
I said totally normal. Do you think that I said totally innocent?
No, we'll debate when the floor is open. We'll debate when the floor is open.
Thank you. So
fucking sexist.
Yes. Yes. In fact, let's go hardcore on it. She's just another ditzy broad. Just another one of these fucking dime a dozen hanging off Destiny's dick. Is that what I was saying? No, I'm not. She's just another one of these fucking Jewish American princesses. No, she's just a
mid Jewish American
girl.
princesses.
I can't pronounce it as an acronym. Not on this website. No. So,
Evil Fossil.
Later. No.
I almost cried.
I think she's a normal fucking person in a strange situation
fucking
that
good.
she should be prepared for, but for some reason isn't. She's been online enough, and she hasn't modified to it. It's really easy when looking from the outside and to be like, damn, she's in a fucking pickle right now. And then when talking to her person to person, you can recognize, oh, this person is not necessarily fucking... They're not thinking very hard about what's going on right now. But at the same time, then say, shouldn't they though? They've been on, once you learn more, you should be like, they've been in enough situations like this to probably figure out how to deal with that kind of shit. So yeah, Zonia, if I'm not trying to say she's fucking day zero out the pussy. I'm saying that she's still a normal ass person who should have adapted, and you have to answer the question inside your own head whether or not the fact that she hasn't adapted is because she shouldn't have to, which is the positive defensive side, or the negative side, which is that she is intentionally not doing that. That's like, those are the two main opinions that seem to be floating around right now. And I don't fucking know. I'm not in her goddamn brain. Move on to the most negative opinions.
Working hard to keep it together. I'm still laughing about it.
All right, Smith.
I think
negative opinion. Here we go.
I think that she's considered hypocritical about things that are directly related to her trauma. I think she has an incredibly traumatic experience with her own woman.
Sorry.
I think she has an incredibly traumatic experience with her own womanhood and gender. She's super reinforced her own place in society as far as being a woman, where she's gone like full head in on sexual objectification to the point where she's exploited herself, but also profited greatly from it. So she has this very confusing relationship to her femininity, to porn, to OnlyFans, to sex work. And these are the things that people say she flip flops on, fucking talking about like shit like Hassan, whatever, like bullshit. She's like that, like having like conversations in private about it that are more candid. It's because she's a loose cannon, off the cuff about these things that are directly related to her trauma. And anybody that doesn't see that and want to make space for that part of her, I think is only engaging in utterly superficial, surface level engagement with her and not really seeing what the fuck is going on.
Somebody online.
Man, oh man. Lav's an interesting individual. I think that she's coming from an extremely huge place of privilege. She seems to have a lot of conversations and not realize that there are more people listening than the one person that she's talking directly to, even in the same chat room in a lot of situations. She seems to say one thing and then someone else confronts her about it. Then she wants to go back and, try to push back against this. She wants to be like indefensible because, well, I'm just expressing my opinions, and my opinion is that here's a bunch of allegations. And then she doesn't want to necessarily back up the allegations that she's making because, again, she wants to fall back onto, well, these are just my feelings and I'm just explaining my perspective. She wants to pull a bunch of emotional weight in a lot of the things that she says because she wants people to get behind her and to believe everything that she says. But again, she doesn't want to change people's minds. She wants people to believe her because she's a cute girl on the internet that you should feel bad for. And I feel like Max is giving her that feeling of that support that she's hoping for, and so she's going along with what Max is saying. But again, as soon as somebody else comes into the situation, kind of pushes back against that, she's like, why are you being so mean to me? What do I need to tell you to make you be less mean to me and to be my friend? She's having conversations that she maybe shouldn't. She needs to protect herself a little bit more online. I'm not saying that she can't feel the way that she feels, but she needs to be a little bit more tactful with the way that she tries to express these things and who she shares certain pieces of information to, because it's damaging to her reputation. She's going through a really difficult situation because of a lot of the things that she has done and a lot of bad choices that she has made up until now. And she needs to just watch herself is my big take on this thing. She needs to separate herself from Max. She needs to separate herself from Destiny, and she needs to realize that the shit that has happened to her, A, isn't that bad, and B, a lot of other people have gone through similar shit and much worse shit, and they don't react the way that she does.
Stardust.
I think somebody online summarized it really well, but I have to put a couple things out here. I've realized like through this whole ordeal that I'm incredibly sexist. I'm willing to give way more charity to females than I am to males. I'm willing to hold men much more accountable, much easier than I am to do that with females. But I think Lav is an adult. She's an adult woman. And although like my stupid sexist brain wants me to give her more and more chances, she just says stupid things all the time and she doesn't think about them, and she doesn't think about the consequences of her actions. She doesn't think about the fact that people can hear what she's saying and repeat what she just said back to her. And for some reason she's I almost wonder if there's something wrong with her, because she's completely um self-contradicting. She's completely, she has no continuity in the things that she says. So it yeah, I think she's manipulative. I think she's smarter than Mrgirl. Actually, if I'm going to be real with you guys, I think she's smarter than Mrgirl. But I think she's more vulnerable than him too. I don't know, but I don't know. Fuck, dude. I think somebody has it summarized pretty well. She needs to kind of like take a step back from the space. She needs to like evaluate the way that she's reacting to things, evaluate the way that she's putting herself out there, and realize that people are going to hold her accountable no matter what in this space. So
I'm
Tell the
so
Drazies.
glad that somebody finally wasn't infantilizing
Zonia.
her. I don't care. I want to say something about it. Glad somebody wasn't infantilizing her for once. Thank you, Stardust.
Yeah,
that
I
was
have
my
to
Zonia
admit,
impression.
Oh, well, I do have to admit that again, I have realized through this
me.
ordeal that I am very sexist. I did not realize how sexist I am.
We've confirmed it. Clip it, ship it. Oh, it's Drazi, fucking go.
Can you just repeat exactly what the question was when you asked that? I was putting out fires in my chat.
Is Lav a misunderstood person, or are they fucking psychotically evil?
Gotcha. That's quite the dichotomy. Okay. So I think that by large, there's at least some misunderstandings. I think I largely agree with what Tuna said. I've talked to Lav off stream. I've talked to Lav on stream. I think that what Tuna pretty much nailed it, but also there's quite a lot of difference in what people think about Lav publicly. Like, for instance, Evil Fossil in my chat said, "Nah, that bitch taught me the word vernacular, bro. She out of control." So there's a lot of stuff that people think about her. I really do think that it's really easy to take things that she says and like run with them in some insane way. That makes like that you kind of have to make Lav into some really kind of special, like larger than life kind of person to make some of the claims that people make. But at the same time too, I can't have that strong of an opinion about anything that she says or does, because I follow her on Twitter, and if you've seen a woman's asshole and then you go and say negative things about her online, like, you're just automatically sexist. I don't intend to like infantilize or anything. I think that she knows that some of the stuff that she says is like factually incorrect. But I think that if you threw most people who aren't used to this kind of space into these kinds of spaces, they're going to say and do a lot of really weird things. I don't think it's a good excuse. I don't think she's crazy. I just think that she's a normal person her age who had as much social experience as she's expressed that she's had. This is what I would expect any given chick from my high school, if they were thrown into this online space, to be like to the T.
More infantilization. Jesus
I
fucking
swear
Christ.
to God, Zonia.
Can we fucking get a
disgusting?
I think Zonia, I think you finished your transformation because you're truly a fucking bitch.
Jesus
Thank
Christ.
you. That's so validating.
Zonia really hates the chicks I went to high school with.
I don't care. Ginger, go.
Unbelievable. Okay. So I think Lav is selfish. I think she knows exactly what she's doing. She often will talk to somebody and she will take back something that she's previously said, then go on somebody else's stream and say the exact same thing, but not only that, but double down on it and add something extra into the
Thank you,
mix that
baby.
nobody else even
Thank
knew
you very
about.
much for the follows.
Then she complains about
actually,
people knowing
Freeman,
too much about her.
Poured liquid
does
estrogen
explain
into all
that,
of my Red Bulls. That's how I
you
got
know,
the titties,
I'm
despite
I'm
being
new to this scene, blah blah blah. How
vegan.
long
It
does it
helps
take
keep
for
me
you to
fat.
not be new to this scene? It shouldn't take that long. You're not a child. You're no longer a teenager. You should stop being treated as such. You were in your 20s. She needs to grow the fuck up and stop making everybody else or holding everybody else accountable to the things that she can't hold herself accountable for. It's gross to see the lack of accountability that she actually has. When you bring it up, she jokes around and she's like, "Ooh, ooh, say it again. That turns me on." Like, she turns herself into a joke, and when we respond in return, she gets upset. Sorry, but there's consequences to the way that you act online. There's consequences to the way the things that you say. If she has such a problem with it, maybe she should grow up and step away from it.
And the best friend of Lab, sick.
Okay. I mean, that's a little bit of a mischaracterization. I don't know much about the girl, but I will say, Tuna, you said Lav and normal in the same sentence, and I immediately threw out everything you said. But I will say, normal people, they don't look at 12-year-olds' pussies at a community pool. They don't admit to it. They don't talk about being curious about the genitals of children that she's overseeing. She brought up unverified allegations against people in the past. If Mrgirl, in his investigation, is not including unverified stories, I would say kudos to him.
Did they not do it?
I wish
or did they
his
just
daughter
not
did the
admit
same
to it?
thing. I also want to point out
I wonder which one it
she
is,
has
Sick.
said on a stream recently that Destiny watched that the worst she's ever talked about of Connor is basically he wouldn't let her paint his toenails or nails or something like that. So I just wanted to bring up what do I want to bring up? Okay, Connor bends to me or we break up. By the way, these are all messages inside of her server. I can absolutely fault him for holding me hostage because of what he wants and feeling like he doesn't have to compromise because he has the money. Connor is so selfish that even when he has kids, he's going to put his needs and wants before theirs. Connor can't have both. I have never fucked anyone, but like both my exes and Connor's, who cares if I finished? I just want to point out that one's funny if we think the Destiny story is true. And then also this one's cute. Knowing that she's cheated on her boyfriend. This guy I know cheated on his girlfriend with my friend multiple times, and she found out, cornered me at a party, asked if it was true, and I said yes, like 9 months ago. She cried and hugged me, and they just got engaged yesterday. It's making me, like, really nauseous and sick. That's so fucked.
Sick, you kicked your
Right,
cam
floor is
like that
open.
fucking Canadian from
I
that
just-
one Canadian protester.
I just gotta say, I disavow Sick bringing up the 12-year-old thing. I disavow that. I pushed hard against him on that. I wanted to state for the record on this particular panel, I pushed back really hard on Sick for that one. I disavow.
Oh, real quick, emergency. Reservoir was hacked. Do not click anything
What?
he sends you. Yeah,
man.
Reservoir was hacked. Do not
Okay.
click anything he sends you.
Free Resi, guys. Hashtag free
Yeah,
Resi in all
Reservoir
chats,
was hacked.
please.
Don't click anything he sends. Okay, floor is open.
Boomer move.
I mean, the dude's a fucking, like, a 40-year-old pagan, okay? Come on. He's pretty fucking boomer.
I just have a
True.
question for Sick about what you just said. Do people not look at 12-year-old pussy, or do they not admit it? That was a very weird thing to hear somebody say.
First of all, no. It
I'll be
is
right back.
weird in the community that
He said it.
He gave both stipulations, so he's
Yes,
got to
yes,
answer
yes.
which one.
Yes. Okay. So first of all, admitting to looking at a 12-year-old's pussy, I don't think people do in a community that has a proclivity to have pedophiles in it. I think that is a weird thing to even admit to. But I can understand admitting to it. I don't think that people look at 12-year-olds' pussies. No, I don't think that that's a normal, average thing. Maybe as a father, I do have an 11-year-old girl. But I'd be hard pressed to ever imagine a time where my gaze is caught on a child for more than like a second.
I gotcha. Well, thank you for clearing that up. I feel like if it didn't get cleared up here, you'd have to clear it up at a less opportune time.
Okay, I'm gonna fucking address the normal thing. Do we really? Maybe I'm fucking delusional here. Because oh my god, don't fucking reorganize it, Sick. It'll get fucking fixed. She's coming back. I hope her camera's coming back. I feel like I'd be fucking delusional. I feel like I'm delusional here. Yeah, it is totally normal to be a fucking histrionic mess. Is that not a place that people have been in when they've been bullied before? Like, and this is important, it's not always that you didn't feed into it, and it's not always that it's not your fault that you're in the line of fire. But that's how fucking people respond to stress. Normal people, not people that are fucking hard grilled to the damn thing. Do I think that her fucking, okay, yeah, the 12-year-old pussy thing, that's a person trying to fit in to a pedophile space. So how about that one, Sick? It's really important that we recognize that that's what's going there. Social adaptability.
So she's just going with the trend.
Hey, I don't fucking know whether or not.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest, Tuna. I don't trend with pedophiles. So.
Didn't you go on to
Can I-
Mr.
can I-
Girl's hotline originally to say that people thought you were a pedophile and stuff, and you wanted to talk about that story?
Are you talking about when I admitted that I was touched as an 8-year-old by my 10-year-old cousin, and then I touched my 8-year-old sister when I was 10?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's sad. I'm sorry, Sick.
No,
talking
it's fine.
about
It's
something
fine.
like
I mean,
that,
20
talking
years
about
ago, you know.
yeah, talking about something like that, like, is the kind of conversation that you can have in that community, and it sounds like that's kind of the conversation that she was having. So, I mean, basically, like talking.
It doesn't sound like the same conversation she was
The
having.
context is quite different. I'll tell you that much.
I think
If
it's
I
im
can,
okay.
if I can, okay, Tuna Chip, I'm going to agree with you, and I would say that it is not easy to be in the position that Lav's in, right? It is not easy to have a huge mob on the internet who's angry with you, that is pouring over everything that you do, right? And I will give her credit. You know, she is in a situation where people, there are tons of eyes on her, and no matter what she says, people are going to take it, they're going to examine it, and they're going to examine it backwards and forwards again, and then upside down, and then they're going to try and find every contradiction there is, right? I won't disagree with you there. But what I will say is that I don't find fault with her for for being under immense pressure in that, and reacting how a person under immense pressure would. But I do find fault with her continuing to antagonize people, continuing to be incredibly vitriolic to people, continuing to, and these are people who have been friendly to her, continuing to be incredibly vitriolic, incredibly contradictory, in very blatantly obvious ways. I'm not somebody who's like over analyzing everything that she's doing. I think I'm pretty, like I've said before, I'm sexist. And I will say, I will say that she is she says irresponsible things. She contradicts herself. She's incredibly vitriolic to people. She can do better. She is a full-grown woman. She has the capability to do better. She needs to do better. So,
How do we know she's capable of doing better? How do we know that anybody's capable of doing more than they have only been demonstrated to do?
That's an
because
act
she's
of good faith.
intelligent. I will say that she's intelligent. I think she's a very intelligent woman. I think she's smarter than Mr. Girl. I think she's smarter than a lot of the people she interacts with. But I think she has really poor decision making skills, and I think she has she has really bad impulses when it comes to saying really vitriolic things. When, like she did to Zonia, like she did with Madame Genevieve, like she's done to plenty of other people. And she also will just make blatantly false claims. Like, for example, that Pixie and Destiny hooked up. Why would you claim that? Why would you claim that? Claiming that other people in Destiny have hooked up when they haven't.
Like
You
Madame
should
Genevieve.
never make these claims ever, ever. Those were fucking crazy, you know? So,
Can we at least all appreciate how hard she can lean into the criticism? I have never in my entire life seen somebody take the mountain of shit she has and then like turn around and like make jokes about it. Like, fuck.
I mean, I already gave her credit. I already gave her credit for
Well, I was just
being
speaking
under.
broadly. That wasn't targeted at you, Star. Because
I
that's
think-
the
How do
thing
you
I
feel
respect
about
about her
that?
the most.
I really think that that thing you're talking about is where she focuses a lot of her creative energy, and I think she just needs to focus on something else, like not reacting to fucking trolls and like shit like that. She needs to focus on her own creative project, and I think she could do something great.
Did you see her Twitter poll?
Why would you blatantly say things like Pixie and Destiny hooked up, things like Genevieve and Destiny
I don't know
hooked up?
anything about that.
She said those things. She said those things like straight up, and she had no reason to say those things. She had no reason to believe those things. I have no reason. I have no reason to believe those things. Like, there's no evidence for any of
I mean,
that.
she also said that he tried to sleep with Kelly Jean when all he did was flirt with her.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about any of that.
I mean,
Okay,
it just
well,
sounds
maybe
like the reason why you do that
these
is
are
because you're
claims that
mad at
she-
somebody and you.
These are claims that
wanna let
she's
'em
never
know.
should have made. These are 3 different people at least that she's
Yeah.
made claims that are blatantly false
It's
about.
really fucked
Not saying
to
that
just
it's right.
drop that shit on people and say that shit publicly or even
Especially when
privately. It doesn't matter.
especially when
You don't gossip about
especially
people with shit like that and
Yeah.
slander them.
And especially when you know the implications. All of these people are females, and somebody who is a feminist herself, she should know the implications that these things put on these girls, on these women, right? You should know that when you imply that you sleep with a larger content creator, that you've hooked up with a larger content creator, and you see these girls who are relatively successful in streaming, you know what you are implying about them. You know it's going to hurt them. You can't be doing that.
And can we all stop pretending that she's like this middle schooler mean girl or something,
Yeah,
and start
it's
actually treating her
ridiculous.
like the quarter century old adult that she actually is?
That's something that you do is drop a rumor when somebody bugs you. No, that's not what a grown individual does. Is you keep your mouth
Yeah.
shut when you don't know anything on the subject. Like,
Yeah, and the reality is the issues that she's dealing with, these are expected outcomes, right? None of this is a surprise. None of you should be surprised that she's dealing with a shitload of backlash because of all the stupid shit she said about so many people. This is just expected outcomes. Does it suck that she deals with a perhaps inordinate amount of pressure and response? Possibly, but she's the one who keeps bringing it on herself. Like, look at what's going on with her right now. She's getting blown the fuck up on Twitter because of the way that she went full on transphobe with me.
Okay,
She
I,
reaps what she
I
sows.
the answer to both of these questions here is the same one. Why did she say this shit about the other women? Why is she saying this shit about Zonia? I'm grouping you in with women right now, Zonia. This is the most based recovery I've ever done in my life. No, it's opportunistic conversation. I don't think that I don't know how to fucking know if it's intentional or not, but she's absolutely a fucking opportunist in conversation. Something inside of her fucking brain is
it,
telling her that it's true.
it is
It
intentional because I've seen her leave.
you are not fucking God, Ginger. You are not God.
You
You
can
fucking
you
Look,
can watch somebody's actions and
turn your
kind of
fucking
predict who they
goddamn
are.
noise gate off if you're gonna yell.
Then
Holy
you just
shit.
fuck off.
You have such an expensive microphone. It's so embarrassing. No, you are not
He
God.
gets
You
like
do
this.
not
He gets
know.
like this.
I'm not gonna get
so
into the fucking technical.
I think I would go
Yeah,
back
bro.
to who was it who said it earlier? Oh, it was somebody that she seems to be ultra privileged, like come from a place of ultra privilege,
Yes.
where it seems almost like she's never really had to deal with consequences much anymore. Probably got a lot of pretty privilege as well, because she is arguably fairly pretty, at least when she makes herself up, right? And so she doesn't have to deal. I don't think she had to deal with a lot of having to face the consequences and take responsibility. And so now she's well into her adulthood in a space that's rife with a lot of conflict, where people are open to critiquing each other as well as open to pushing back quite aggressively, especially when false claims are made. And now she's having to deal with the brunt of it in a space that is very concentrated in its vitriol, having no experience dealing with consequences or accountability. And it's a shitty lesson to have to learn when you're fucking nearly 25 years old, right?
So
Um,
Embarrassing.
why I think that it's opportunistic is because I've seen her actually leave panels that she had prior commitments to, like Stardust or somebody small, and Zerka or Destiny goes live, and she immediately jumps ship because she knows she can get more attention from the other person, even if she has a commitment to the person that she's already on. So if that's not opportunistic, I don't know what it is.
All I have to say is I don't know about that, but damn, that she's fucking hot. I just want to get some fucking feet pics. I just need to defend her to the fucking brim because
Are
I
you
really
being
wanted to send me those
ironic right
feet pics
now?
after this.
Yes,
Are you
he's
I
being
being
just really
ironic.
want those feet pics.
I just don't understand jumping to the defense of somebody who literally says she wants to annihilate all men. Like, if you think she's joking on that, you're absurd. She
I've
does
had,
it.
I've
That
had,
is
Well,
a
I've
I've been
had.
making
No,
that joke
that.
longer than her.
no,
Okay,
no, no,
let's
no, no,
No,
no, no, no, no. It's not a joke from her. She actually does hate men. You don't
no,
hate men,
I've had.
Stardust.
She does hate men, but she also absolutely hates women.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say
Lav
the other night she
hates.
was in a fight on
That's
Not So
fine.
Erudite server and she was minimizing somebody getting sent dick pics and like, oh, my
yeah.
situation with
So
Destiny is
so
so
you
much
I'm
worse.
so
gonna
I
claim,
think
but
yeah.
I actually think that I'm more sexist than Lab. When it comes to being sexist against men, I think I am more sexist
Yeah,
than Lab. I think
I think she's just
yeah.
self-serving, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I
yeah,
think
she
no, honestly, no, honestly, I think like the hating men and stuff. I've noticed in her like she's like she's got like this really creative comedic tick that always comes up at the worst fucking time, and she follows that like it's her fucking guiding star, and people think she's like being serious all the time. She's joking when she says she hates all men. She's doing it to get a rise out of people because she thinks it's funny. I don't think she does it because she's evil. I think it is funny once you realize
she uses the joke thing
like,
to
she's like
escape
Sam
claims,
Hyde.
though, that she's
She's like
lying
No,
openly.
she's
I'm
like
sorry.
Sam Hyde. She's
Yeah,
like
and
Sam Hyde. I
she-
think
No.
if you
You
engage
just-
with
you
her,
can't-
Oh, she's not like
If
Sam
if you
Hyde.
engage with her like a female Sam Hyde, I think she makes a lot more
You
sense.
cannot bring up the
I
joke
don't
thing
view her-
because the
I don't
problem is
think you
that
can
she
view her
doesn't
as-
just use it for political points. She uses it when she's making honest to God fucking claims against people.
Right?
Yeah,
And-
she's done. I think, in all honesty, I think she's done I think she's done a sizable amount of disparaging female content
guys
creators and
doing?
other females in this space, to the point where I don't believe that I would be more likely to believe that she's sexist against females than she is against males, because she has done more disparaging
No.
things towards
No,
females.
she
you
seems to
you-
target women and feminine people more so than she does men by a long shot.
Yeah.
Okay, but she might not go after them the same way, but I guarantee you she targets men just as much, if not more, than she targets women.
Mm-mm.
Well, this
Just
is
She
what
goes,
we're
and
saying.
she goes
It's
ultra. Wait, she
self-serving,
goes
though,
right?
ultra low. Hold on, she goes ultra low with women, and it's all about
That's
sex,
because she
right?
knows she can flirt her way out of most things with men.
Okay.
She doesn't think of men as seriously as she thinks of women. That's why she goes for the low blow when she goes for women.
So
She
there's-
makes that tee-hee joke when she's talking about men because she knows she can manipulate them easier. Yeah,
So
I've
she
seen
gets a
women
lot of
like her.
praise.
They hate
She gets a lot
women,
of
but they hate men
praise.
too.
She gets a lot of praise from men, and that definitely validates her, right? So, because you got the Smeths out there that want the feed pics, but the reality is, when it comes to the outcomes of her behavior, they tend to be more cutting and more hurtful toward women than they are men. It's not men that are the ones that she's like tearing down publicly so much, except in the case of Hassan and what's his name, that dude that she apparently got her head pushed down on and had to eat him out. But uh, the otherwise, generally, she's talking about who women have, like various women, and what they've been doing with their sex lives, and criticizing women and attacking women and degrading women. That's generally her stock and trade.
In my
Do you not
conversations
know-
with
Do
her,
you guys not know people in real life that act like this? Am I
Yeah.
fucking insane? Have you not hung out
Not
with
since
people
You're
not
talking
since
to-
about like
Okay,
ninth grade.
listen,
Not since
You're
like
talking
ninth
to-
I'll be
grade.
honest with you,
Tuna
Tuna.
chip,
got
tuna
out of
chip.
fucking holes.
Tuna
Wait,
chip.
I just-
Tuna chip. The
Solution.
difference is Tuna chip is that she is a 25-year-old woman. The last time I encountered somebody with this type of behavior, they were like 18.
That's
Teen.
before you got
Even-
locked in your
even-
bedroom. That's
I just
before you
wanna
got
point
locked
out
in your
something.
bedroom with streamer
I'm
mode.
not trying to
Oh,
fucking
good
I'm not trying to
one.
explain it away. It's real fucking simple. I don't know why we have to say she's sexist against men. She's sexist against women. She has this. She has that. There's this. It's a fucking normal, easy
Okay.
to conceptualize thing.
Nothing
you
that
know
she's
what
doing
it
is
for
normal.
her.
The problem,
are
Tuna, is
trying
when we
hard.
encounter these people in real life, our standards for engagement are actually a lot fucking higher. You know why I haven't dealt with people like this in my real life that much? It's because as soon as I figure out they're like this, they get
Walk
cut out
away.
in some way.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just saying that the way that we're conceptualizing this, we're going into these lofty explanations when I know for a fact everybody here knows exactly what this behavior is in a very simple term. This is a person who is immature, opportunistic, finds themselves in a corner, and then says the thing, whether or not they know it or not, that they think is most likely to get them out of that corner. Now, the
Yeah,
question
that's
here,
just live. Tee-hee.
no.
When I
what
first
the fuck
encountered
you-
Lav, I thought
you,
that she was
Ginger,
just
do
a
you think
troll.
that when I say that somebody has a simple explanation, that means it's fucking good? You have a fucking simple explanation for why your goddamn hair looks the way it does. You care about your appearance. She has a simple. It's some things speak for
This is
themselves.
straight out
I don't-
shower, dude. What are you talking
It's
about?
not a.
He likes it. Whatever.
He's saying your hair is
So,
good though.
uh,
So
You know, we
Again,
can't
what
hear
I
you,
was
buddy.
saying, when I first encountered Lav, I thought that she was just a troll in this space because she comes around and she goes, "Oh, I just want to play the supervillain. I want everybody to hate me. That way I get more views." And then she goes and tries to flip everything that she's trying to say to paint herself in a better light when she starts not enjoying the hate that she's getting. It's this never-ending cycle that she seems to go through where she wants everybody's love and affection and attention, but at the same time she wants to be able to portray herself as being tough and hard and not caring about what the haters say, and she wants sympathy for the things that she feels like she's being attacked for, and she wants to change everything that she's saying constantly to try to paint herself in the best possible light. I mean, it's a ridiculous maneuver.
So
in my conversations.
Give me just 1 second here. Everybody's
Go ahead.
talking about what she does and why she does it. The Twitter poll that I mentioned, I think is a really good demonstration of like what the intentionality is here and how she engages with things. She had a Twitter poll that said, "Should I get my septum re-pierced? Yes, no, and all you do is lie." Over 3,000 people responded to that. Okay, it was like 3,500 people. 55% said all you do is lie. Lav knows that people don't like her, and she's leaning into that hard as fuck. So this is a part of the equation here, is that she's going to use all these things that people are saying about her, even in this panel right now, is going to be a part of the rhetoric that she puts out there because it is effective for her. 3,500 people respond to a Twitter poll? That's crazy.
But can I respond to that? I feel like that's fine and everything. But if she is making it so that people hate her, I don't want to see her cry about it on stream.
True.
I mean, why are you watching her streams?
Preach it.
Also, Based Zonia said that she thinks Lav is hot.
She cries about it on other people's streams too.
Everybody else's stream. I'm just watching people like Stardust or somebody, and she'll just randomly go onto their stream when people are talking about her, make them say awful things, make them hate her, and then cry that they're.
She makes other people say awful things.
Yeah,
You're not gonna get feet pics with comments like that.
And she's interacting with people. She criticizes people for everything. She criticizes people for everything under the sun, and then goes and hangs out with people like Big Tech, who are known for getting people deplatformed, who are known for getting people, getting mass reporting people and being super far right and stuff like that. Tuna Chip, I am not disagreeing that like people we can find easy explanations to some of this behavior, but that doesn't excuse it, and I still stand by my criticisms of her. And the only reason I brought up the sexism thing argument from before is because somebody else brought up sexism, and I don't think she's really that sexist. I think she's just very opportunistic about, and she will.
I think she equally hates everybody.
Yeah, maybe she does. Yeah, but the things that she's saying about people sleeping with other people are very damaging to women, and she should know that it's much more damaging to a woman than it is to a man.
And especially, I'm sorry, I'll let you finish, but especially bringing it into somebody like Destiny, who it can very easily be true. Like, you can't just say those things about somebody who actually does sleep around, and it's like, oh, well, now you have a bunch of people wondering, is he sleeping
I'll
with
let you
Madame
finish.
Genevieve? Is he
Completely interrupts and stops her from
say no
talking.
to him? Like,
yeah, and he's Steven's got pretty good ethics around. Steven's got pretty good ethics around not telling who he hooks up with and stuff like that. But that her kind of saying those things, whether it's true or not, is going to hurt those female content creators in the long run. And even being tangentially associated with Steven, people will come into your chat if you're a female and be like, oh, did you hook up with him? This is before she even made those allegations. And I would say that yes, it's understandable that she's acting like somebody's backed into a corner, but she is somebody who pokes other people until she's backed into the corner. Yeah.
Okay, so she does poke other people. So in my conversations with her, I've had many, and for the most more than half of them, she really got under my skin, and she would do the man hate thing, and me being so incel brained fucking set me off, fucking triggered me, sent me ablaze. And you know what? I've grown because of that, and I realized, and talking to her, like, she's doing that because it gets under my skin, and she's just trying to be funny, and she just wants me to make room for that amount of tension in the conversation. And once I realized that, and I realized, like, if I just let her joke like that and I joke back, that's all she wants in a conversation. That's just how she is. I don't know.
Congratulations, Smith. You figured out a joke. Wow.
Okay. Well, that's what she's doing all the time, though.
I don't think that's her problem. I think that's you problem, Smith.
No.
I'm okay. I was fucking muted, and I want to get to something. I think it's working now.
You have 4 minutes.
That it goes into the exact same thing that I was trying to say before, and I agree with you entirely. all of this gets explained into one simple behavior: heat seeking. This is a person who wants to have friends, wants to have connection,
Yeah.
and is deeply scared, and I think goes into immoral behavior when she feels like people are abandoning her. Like, I don't want to fucking psychoanalyze this shit, but that's what it fucking all looks like.
But
And
how
the only question we can really be having, Ginger, put your fucking lips away from the goddamn filter, is whether or not she's doing it maliciously or if she needs to be
from
taken
somebody who
away
had
from that
himself
position
muted
by
for the
force.
past 20 minutes?
Yeah, I have restraint, digital restraint. You
So
want to talk about
I
disconnection? You want to talk about disconnection? Your fucking
so
camera every 10 goddamn
Yeah,
minutes.
I already
I
saw
think
that, and that's
this
Discord, you
whole
dickhead.
I think this
Good to hear.
whole
Good to hear.
I think this whole shit show we got going on here, which could easily be framed as like either like a coping session for either side. I think this kind of stuff really feeds into her desire for attention. I think she enjoys this stuff. So honestly, she's not going to leave. She's going to stick around more just because of the fact that we're doing this. This is something that she's going to feed off of. It's going to give her energy. It's going to be more content for her and get more people flocking to her, the simps that will support her and give her the praise that she desires and
Fuck, it's
the pity that she
I mean,
backfired.
desires.
to be
I just
So,
have.
fair,
yeah.
I think there's a point in time where like there was probably a grace period where she comes into the scene, she gets a bit of vitriol, and then she's like, well, these are also the kind of people who debate like controversial topics, and so she's engaging with it a little bit deeper, more and more. But the problem is that like if she wanted to victimize herself early on, we could say, okay, she didn't understand how strong the scene was going to come on to her, how strong they were going to hate her, and she didn't really consent to that. There's no way she could have known ahead of time how passionate Destiny's audience is. The problem is, at this point, she's like feeding into that. She's begging for people to hate her because it gets her attention. Like at this point, I don't think that I'm gonna sit there and pretend like she's a victim in any form, because she's kind of surpassed that. She's beyond
And
that
then
point.
in the narrative that she's lonely or that she wants friends, stop hating on everybody then. That's not how you make friends. You learn that in preschool. Like you don't bring you don't sorry, you don't
Yeah,
lie on people to make friends.
this is something I don't understand. If somebody is doing something because they want attention, whether you agree with it or not, and if like half the things that people are saying here are true, then like if somebody wants attention, then I don't, and they're doing like bad things for attention, then maybe talk to them and give them some fucking attention in a way that's not going to cause so many fucking problems for them. If that's actually the thing that you care about.
Nope, it's not our
Why
job to
do I
like or be considerate
it's
to other people.
yeah, it's
Well, I'm saying if this is an issue that you have and you want her to stop, if you don't care or whatever, sure, you're right, it's not your job. But if you're gonna bitch and moan about it and all that, and you care this much about it, like you could put an end to it. Then, if she just wants attention, you can give her attention that isn't a part of all this bullshit. I'm just saying, like it follows
Okay.
if that's what you think and if that's what you actually care
Okay.
about.
All right. Drazi got the closing
Elder
statement on this one.
Drazi,
Next
oh,
question.
can I
Go ahead.
can I
Yes,
just say
Carl.
one thing? I'm so sorry.
I don't know.
Elder Drazi,
Yeah.
I would say what you're saying is great, but as somebody who tried to be kind to Lav for months, who she was an absolute cunt to, I can tell you it did not work when I tried to be incredibly nice to her. So
yeah,
that's
me
all I'm
too.
gonna say. Yeah.
All
Me
right,
too.
there we go. All right, that was it. Okay, now for the next question, a big one. Is Mrgirl an abuser or an emotional manipulator and abusive to his friends? Kind of both at the same time.
Is this a fucking
Or is he a
setup for
really
me or what?
Or is he a really good guy? Is he just a really good kind hearted guy? Drazi, how about you go first? How about you go first? Did you want to speak up? You go first.
So I think it's really hard to look at all the shit that happens online and the things that were shown in his videos. If you want to talk about on stream, I don't think I've ever seen anything on stream that would demonstrate him as an abuser. I think he deliberately presents himself in provocative ways that makes you ask the question, is this abuse? I have talked to people who work in the psych field. I've talked to people who work in things like consent and responding to people, like being like first on the scene when people are physically and or sexually abused. I have not had any of these people say, yes, I think this is abusive. There's a lot of context that we don't get in these interactions that we see Mr. Girl in, and I think it makes it extremely difficult to call any of it abuse. I absolutely 100% side with Stardust and say that sometimes he can be a fucking asshole, which is not the same thing as being abusive. And I think that if you say that Mr. Girl is abusive, I think that there is, you'll have a difficult time explaining to me how he's been abusive towards people, and we're not going to call a bunch of other content creators abusive for their behaviors. So I guess I'm just sort of ready if somebody is going to make that claim to interject and say, okay, how are other people not doing the same sort of thing here, and explain how that's not abusive then.
Mr. Girl has abusive tendencies, but he's not.
Shut up, Judah! Shut.
What?
Shut.
Excuse me?
I said,
Am I
shut the
speaking out
fuck
of
up, you
turn?
little fucking little. Yeah, you are. Shut your fucking mouth. Oh, bitch.
Call on me next.
Okay.
All right, Ginger.
No, I don't think he's abusive. I think he's manipulative, and he uses that to help him grow and help him do other shit. Um, I do think that he's pretty manipulative towards his friends and the people around him. However, that's if if they've been told that and they, I don't see anything wrong with that as long as they're adults. If you're being manipulated, there's only so many times you can be manipulated without me thinking like, okay, that's kind of on you. Um, no, I do not think he's abusive. I don't think he's a pedophile. I don't think any of that thing. I think he's kind of gross, and I think that he has a firm handle on his own limitations, but doesn't care about anybody else's.
All right, sick.
I think it's pretty clear from this entire engagement that Eldrazi and Smith have been emotionally manipulated. I do not think they've been abused. I will say, I've never seen Mr. Girl and Jimmy inside the same room. I don't even know if Jimmy exists. Other than that, I'd say he's definitely abusive to everybody else.
I have talked to Jimmy outside of Mr. Grill offline.
Don't care.
I'm
Don't
so
care.
glad Jimmy
Stardust,
got
go.
brought up.
All right, Stardust, take it away.
Can you skip me?
Sure, I can skip you. Somebody online.
Yeah, Mr. Girl, man, oh man. I definitely think that he is an abuser. I've had a couple of conversations with him on the subject of consensual abuse and whether or not he thinks it's a thing, and he refuses to acknowledge it. He's abused a number of people in his community. I mean, frickin', he abused the fuck out of Sick. He abused the fuck out of Stardust. He abused the fuck out of Eldrazi. I think he's abused Smith. I know he's abused Lab. He's abused Destiny. He's been pretty rough and tough with a lot of people, and that isn't even to talk about his frickin' girlfriend, because it's pretty disgusting. But whether or not that's okay and whether or not the community is cool with that, that's a different question that we can ask, because the community seems to tolerate a fuck of a lot of shit from content creators as far as weird and fucked up behavior, because it's content and we want to watch the Jerry Springer show. But it is what it is. Is he a dangerous individual that I wouldn't recommend anybody around here getting into bed with? That includes anybody in chat? Definitely. Is it anything bad that he needs to be put in jail for, or sued, or taken off of the platform? No, not necessarily. And shame on big tech for doing what he did, because frankly, it was out of line. But is he abusive? Is he not necessarily good for the people that he interacts with? I definitely say that's the truth.
Smith.
I think that by his own definition, Mr. Girl's definition of abuse, that I'm assuming is going forth with the article about Destiny. I think that to say that Mr. Girl is not abusive would be, and I think this is really important. I think you can't say he's not abusive. And I think that if you think he's abusive, I would love if someone were to make got transcripts or whatever and things that you think he's done and said. And I'll have a conversation with you, and I'd love to go in depth about the ways you think he's abusive. I don't think he's particularly abusive. I think that he is kind of manipulative in his communication style, because he likes to he likes to really fight for his space, and he doesn't like to give up any of his own space in the conversation. And to be able to contend with that means you have to also be really willing to stand for your own space too. But that in itself teaches people to stand up for themselves in a conversation. So that's also kind of cool. But also, if you're not prepared for that, it's gonna be scary and it's gonna be manipulative. But yeah, I think that he is abusive or manipulative in these ways. I just don't think it's to an extreme extent. I think we all are too.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, no, I agree with Zonia's wow. The fucking no, if the definition of abuse, if you're gonna say that he's abusive, but then you end it by saying everybody's abusive, then your answer.
Yeah.
Wait, no, wait. Can I clarify?
Your answer
Can I,
is no, right?
can I clarify? Like,
Sure,
so, like,
go for it.
I don't
wanna
mean
hear
like,
more.
everybody's abusive. I mean like everybody's abusive sometimes, not like everybody's like all constantly a low level of abuse. I mean everybody does some kind of abusive behavior sometimes. It's just some people do it all the time. So so I think that if you can show a pattern of abusive behavior that
I'm
he's
sorry,
doing
is
and you
this
can get
opening statement
transcripts.
time?
No,
What?
it wasn't. But Tuna allowed it, so it's his.
I'm
opening
allowing
statement.
it for a moment. Hey, I'll go ahead and interrupt it now since we're getting
Okay.
all fucking bored. I don't think that Mr. Girl is abusive, but my standards for abuse apparently are higher. Everybody here is walking around with their pants full of shit, it feels like, clipped in the front with a goddamn paper clip. Sorry, don't, yeah, you included, Drazi. I haven't seen you stand up for fucking 17 hours. I know you shit more often than that. No, what has
That's
he
what
fucking
diapers
done?
are
Are we talking
for.
about
I do poop a
emotional
lot.
manipulation, abuse? I think that he has abusive tendencies and he purposely seeks out relationships where he's able to do those things with people that are okay with it. I don't think it's abuse to beat a woman. I don't think that it's abuse to call somebody a sniveling dweeb. I don't think that it's abuse to do anything unless the person is not okay with it. It's not abuse unless a person is not okay with that use. So when we watch shit like the fucking doll review, we can see her cry, we can see the framing, and then we fundamentally don't know what's happening outside of that context. Only Shaylin knows
Egma,
on that
thank
shit.
you
So
for the
when people are
follow.
talking about whether or not he's a fucking abuser from that source material, whatever. If you think that he's an abuser because he's treated you in ways in conversation or he's shared information or the way that he's engaging with destiny with the fucking thing, I would say grow a thicker skin and you haven't been abused.
Can't you say the
No, I
same
want to
thing
feel
to
the
Lab?
love. I want to feel the love with this one. Go ahead.
What
Wait,
was the question?
who's
Wait, is there anybody else left to give
You,
it a...
Zonia, you. I want to
Okay.
feel love
Oh.
with you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, is he an abuser or whatever? Okay. I'm kind of with Tuna Chip that it's hard to say if he's an abuser, but he has absolutely abused certain people, particularly I would say Steven in this case. Like what I've witnessed was absolutely emotional abuse by Max towards Steven, talking about how Steven needed to take care of his emotions and that he loved Steven. And there was like this really weird shit that was going on. It was very emotionally abusive. And the way Steven describes that Max basically chipped away at his boundaries over time to get him to open up more to having a closer relationship with Max absolutely sounded like emotional abuse, sounded manipulative as hell. I would say yes, he was absolutely abusive to Steven. He was extremely manipulative and I would say also somewhat abusive to Stardust as well, which is the whole reason why I distanced myself from Max in the first place. And so those are two instances of him both being very emotionally manipulative and what I would argue abusive, especially in the case of his relationship with Steven. Um, whether or not this is like a pattern of behavior, I don't really have the ability to judge that because I can't see enough into his personal life to see the pattern. Two is not a pattern, right? So, does his relationship with Shaylin and what we've seen so far in videos seem like abusive from the outside? Sure, but I don't know how much of that is like played up for the content, right? So I can't judge based on that. What I will say is this: Max has definitely demonstrated himself to be a very cunning, manipulative person. And that, I think, is something enough to be completely wary of and be on guard about at all times. It's something that everybody needs to be aware of. So, whether or not that like makes him some kind of like evil person or something, that's not that's not my pay grade, right? So that's someone else's pay grade, like, whoever his god is, if he has one. Um, so I would just say he's shown himself to have a pattern of manipulation and be very cunning, and everybody should be acutely aware of that and be on guard with him at all times and not trust him, I would say.
Floor is open.
Yeah, I just want to point out, Smith, your whole argument about like everybody's abusive, to some degree. I mean, it's meaningless. It's kind of like when we say, well, everybody manipulates each other. But when we're talking about manipulation, we're really talking about it in the context of it being a maladaptive behavior or antisocial
Pattern.
behavior. No, behavior in general.
Something
It doesn't
that,
have to be a
yeah.
pattern. It doesn't have to be a pattern for us to say that this is the type of abuse that we're talking about, or this is the type of manipulation we're talking about. Okay,
And something that
because
disproportionately affects people too. That's the most important thing.
yeah, and I also want to say, Zonia, you were saying I don't know about enough about Max and Shaylin's relationship to know that he's abusive. One or two times. That's not really a pattern at that point. I will say, Shaylin had admitted to Chud in her interview with him that when they did the Real Doll review, she was earnest in her not giving consent or saying to Mrgirl explicitly that I do not want this to be put on Pornhub. I do not want it put in YouTube. And Mrgirl, I can't remember what his response was, but I will say she said after the fact that she gave consent for that to be uploaded. And I will say based on that,
Retroactively.
yeah, I will say based on that, that definitely she did not give consent for that to be uploaded. I do not know any other scenario in which we would allow somebody to retroactively give consent. It's the same reason I would say people are not allowed to consent to their own child porn being out there.
Well, I
think you
will say
absolutely
this in
can give
respect to
retroactive. It's your
I
property.
will
It's your
say
property.
this in respect to Smeth's answer is that Smith, I really want to know when you're running for office and what party, because that's the kind of non-answer that politicians give, and that was just fucking spectacular. Like
Thank you.
that was right up there with like Hillary Clinton's kinds of non-answers.
Thank you. I
I
appreciate
don't-
that.
I don't understand the you can't give consent retroactively. So like that's not what happened in that video. What happened is she said I
That's
don't want this to
exactly
be
what she
wait,
admitted to in her interview with Chud. I just want to point that out. That's exactly what she
well, I can
described.
disagree with her then. If you say I don't want
How are
this
you
to
gonna
be in the
disagree with
video,
the victim?
hang on, I can disagree with whoever I want. Anybody can
Yeah,
be
you
wrong.
can.
Well, okay, well this is
can
how I'm
disagree with
trying.
it.
If you want to know how, you can let me do it, and then you can see it demonstrated live in real time.
All right, let's hear the
Um,
stupidity. Come on.
Okay, well, if you keep talking, we can, or I can tell you how I'm going to disagree with the victim. She says, I don't want this to be in the video. Okay, so what she's consenting to is a future event that has not taken place yet. And then when before the video comes out, if she says, I'm okay with this being in the video, this is her consenting to something that has not happened yet. You can change your mind about something in that way. You can't say, I don't want this to happen to me, and then have it happen to you, and then go, okay, I want this to happen to me.
No. Okay, it's not like she just decided to change her mind afterwards. This
My
is
God.
after a long litigation of this scenario with Mrgirl. She described talking about this with him and them having a long conversation, and then afterwards she decided, okay, fine, I'm okay with it being in the video. I would say
that's not the
everything.
same
I would say everything up until the point she said, I don't want this to be in the video, is totally fine. Maybe that's just me. I just tend to have respect for people. If they ask me if I'm recording, if they ask me, hey, I don't want this out in the public, I will specifically do that unless they're bringing the elements of that conversation into the public.
Sick, I'll agree with you to a certain extent, but you gotta bring it back a bit then, because this is not about retroactive consent and whether or not retroactive consent matters here. This is about whether or not it was okay for Mrgirl to go to her and try and talk her into changing her mind. If you think that he's not allowed to, or you think the method
No, but it
for
is
which he
about the
did,
consent. I think no matter if he did that in an abusive way, manipulative way, or otherwise, I would say there is no other scenario in which we would decide that it is okay. You can retroactively remove your consent or give it.
Okay,
you
so
absolutely can.
there's
You
actually
absolutely can, because
there's
it's not
actually
retroactive.
there's
Elder
actually
Johnson
on
made the fucking great point here. she consented to the interview,
Yes.
and then she, while she was doing it, said, "I'm not going to consent towards this being released." The release has not happened. Then before the release, she consents to it. So that means that it's not retroactive. Don't fucking throw that back.
I'm sorry.
If it was a
Wait.
video of her being raped as a child, then yes, we wouldn't be okay with it because we're talking about whether or not the rape was consented to. But she
Let me bring you to a Brazzers video, okay? Let me bring you to a Brazzers video, okay? Brazzers, a porn company, makes a porn video with a porn star, and that porn star shoots the video and then consents to all of the actions. Do you think that because she afterwards, let's say there was no contract, afterwards she's like, actually, I don't want you to upload this? No, they took that entire video under the guise that she was giving her consent, and now she just feels a little bit upset about it. I would say, porn star, suck a dick, go get fucked. I do not care. That is my principle. You don't get to retroactively give or take away your consent.
Though Shaylin is the porn star in this analogy.
Yes, in the porn video with Shaylin, she is in the middle of an interview saying anything beyond this point, I don't want to be in the video, and yet we see it in the video, and everybody was in a riot about whether or not it was abusive or manipulative for it to be included. Shaylin admits nobody else saw the conversation afterwards. So if you person are okay with retroactive, wait, if me and you on principle are disagreeing on the fact of whether or not somebody can give retroactive consent or retroactively take it away, that's fine. I can agree that I disagree with you. But then we also have to contend with the fact that Mrgirl and Shaylin were acting so confused about why people were saying she was being emotionally manipulated or abused, or that it was wrong for Mrgirl to include this in the video in the first place.
No, that was bait. I will agree with you 100%. I think that it was dishonest when they were pretending that that they didn't understand what people's discomfort was. That's performative on their part to fucking boost the thing. It's a purposely hostile engagement with the audience to try and provoke clicks. Because I wasn't going to watch the video until I saw that it was a controversy, right? I'm not going on Pornhub looking for fucking Max's dick. I've got better dicks to look at. But what I'm saying is, when you're watching that video, you can turn on parts of your brain that don't belong to lizards for a moment and recognize that while in the moment she said, I don't want this to be shown, between that event and then him hitting upload, she then has said, actually, that's fine.
Yes, and I
would did he release the video before she consented?
This is what we're calling.
So
no.
Okay. All
no.
Right,
so she consented and then he released it.
There is something that is on the record that you all are kind of overlooking. During when Doobie co-hosted the hotline with Max, one of the things I brought up to him was all the people speculating on whether or not Max was abusive to his partner. And we got into a conversation, and one of the things that we talked about is he said that, well, he and Shaylin actually have an agreement that they get to dictate the terms of each other's, the other person doesn't get to dictate the terms of the other person's art. So they have full autonomy in what to do with their art. So what matters is whether or not the person actually brings themselves into the art. So Shaylin showing up and agreeing to be on camera with them is consent enough, because once she's agreed to be on camera with him, it's up to him. He gets to choose whether or not he releases it, and she doesn't get the ability to revoke consent in that. Say likewise with her artwork. If he agrees beforehand to be in her artwork, if he doesn't like the outcome, he doesn't get the ability to retroactively say, no, please don't release it. Like, he could say it, but she doesn't have to honor it. And that's sort of like the contract that they have with each other's artwork.
Yeah, I would say that this is the same thing as like sex inside of Islam or many other religions, is that by being married, you are consenting to give me sex, and you will understand that that is the agreement that we're in. So if you say no or you retract it later on, I'm still allowed to fuck you, and I would say that that is a bullshit proposal.
Is it,
yeah, but what you're saying,
like in the case of bodily autonomy, absolutely, but in the case of like,
I don't give a fuck about bodily autonomy.
No, but what you're saying that doesn't make sense. The
consent aspect supersedes that, in my opinion.
Yeah, but what you're saying doesn't make sense is the same argument that doesn't make sense with calling Mrgirl an abuser in this case, because what you're saying is proactive consent does not mean in the future you always consent, which also is the same case of proactive non-consent does not mean always in the future you won't consent. It's the same thing.
But we have,
you're also basically,
we have documentation of her taking away her consent, and then we know from Shaylin that she was talked into giving it back afterwards.
You say
So
talked
I'll tell
into.
you
You
this.
say talked into. That's
on
your
if it's
word.
okay to
Look,
fucking try and convince her. That's
Six,
the
I'll
No,
whole
get
fucking
this is
conversation.
why.
six,
This
six,
is
six,
why.
six, six, six,
This is
six.
why
Okay.
we don't. I'm sorry, Zonia. 1 second. I'm just saying this is why, on principle, for many situations, we don't allow retroactive withdrawal or giving of consent, is because people can be convinced of things after the fact, even though we know within the moment that what they went through, they did or did not consent to.
Isn't
You're
every
allowed to
interview
have
ever?
regrets. That doesn't mean your
No, no, no,
regrets are
no, no,
allowed
no,
to
no. Wait.
dictate
She
other
wasn't.
people's
She wasn't
lives.
not consenting to having the conversation. So this is bullshit. What she was not consenting to was the publication of the video, and she did consent when it was published. We're not talking about the conversation. We're talking about the publication of the video.
Yes.
She
Well, okay,
always consented to the conversation.
Six argument is because I talked about how Max talked about their prearranged agreement on each other's artwork, that effectively they're preemptively consenting if you just put yourself into the artwork. So if she goes and talks to him on camera, he gets the choice of whether or not to release it. She doesn't have the ability to revoke that, right? So now what I'll say, Six, is I agree with what you're arguing, but what you're basically saying is that they're both engaged in a mutually abusive relationship then. So yeah, is that kind of
Yes.
fucked up
Yes.
and wrong? Sure.
Yes.
But
On its
they're
face, it's manipulative, in my
but
opinion.
yeah, so they're both probably in like a weird mutually abusive relationship. Maybe Max probably has a little more power in that abuse than she does, I would argue, considering that he can put her on camera and he has a lot of attention drawn toward his videos. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where with two adults, you know, consenting to that abusive relationship, it's weird and fucked up, but there's not a lot that you can argue against there other than, okay, you're both being fucking retards, but that's not
Okay,
really
well,
a good
I just
argument.
want to say nobody on this panel, if they're defending Mrgirl, is allowed to vouch for victims of Islamic or Indian marriages at all.
Nah, I disagree. I
Yeah,
disagree.
I don't care.
So
Sick,
if
I'm telling you right now, Sick, I'm telling you right now, I want you to recognize why the retroactive consent is not retractable in some instances and when it is. Like if you okay, I'm gonna try and make a charitable situation here. If me and you are making a video together, we're doing this, we know that we are making the video together, we have common understanding. Midway through the video, let's say we're filming Jackass. I've got your balls on a table and I hit him with a fucking rake. And then you're like, wait a second, the
Jesus.
blood's spurting out. I'm in a lot of pain. Fuck you. You're very emotionally charged and you're saying, I don't want this to be in the fucking Jackass video. You can't put this in our skateboarding compilation. And then later we have a conversation. You feel like you're in a more level head. And you say, you know what? I was being emotional at the time. I actually think that that's good content. And I care enough about the content that even though it's very intimate and personal, fucking put it out there. I was speaking from emotion back then. In that circumstance, we would say that that is definitely a situation where then the person is able to then be like, oh, you know what? Yes, you can retroact it. The only thing we don't know about this versus this fucking goddamn doll vid is whether or not the conversation between Mrgirl and Shaylin was one where he is being emotionally manipulative. Yet again, everybody on both sides, if they're being certain, is begging the question on whether or not something that happened off camera was emotionally manipulative or abusive or not. We don't
The
know.
the only thing that would ever change my mind is knowing whether or not they live in a one-party or two-party state. In your example, skateboarding, they're out in public in America. We find that to be totally okay. I actually don't need your consent, but I would also acknowledge that you don't have their consent.
No, you literally sign consent papers when they do their work, especially when they're filming in California. So that's something they've actually shown that with like the behind the scenes footage and the extra footage from the .5 movies and such.
wait, I don't know why we have to use
Presumably,
such like abstract
wait,
comparisons.
I'm sorry. Presumably, the reason that they would need consent in waivers and whatnot is because there's a potential for injuries. That doesn't determine whether or not
No, even
it's
for
acceptable to film you out in public. And they probably have some agreements or contracts that lend different people money based on what's actually happening.
Well, you're
Like,
being roped
I don't.
into pranks as well that people can be deceived by, right? So they get the consent afterward. They do the prank and then get the consent afterward to include them. And sometimes they'll blur their faces if they don't want to be included, or if they don't want their faces in it, or they'll show them full full face and everything if they consented. So it's more about liability and dealing with being sued and such. So there's
Yeah, I would
multiple
still.
angles to it.
Again, I would just stand by the principle that if that's the case, I would say that definitely prank videos, those people are probably engaging in some level of abuse because they are not getting people's proactive consent. People can disagree with that. They can not like it. I'm just saying, to me, the consent is a valuable factor. The fact that they're in a private home is a valuable factor. And I think when we're talking about two people in an interpersonal relationship where they're partners, that definitely heightens the level of respect, the base level of respect you should or I would expect you to have of each other.
Wait, why are we making all these abstract
can
comparisons? Can I get 1 second? I've been trying to get this out for a while because this is really weird. We're talking about Jackass. We're talking about Islamic marriages. Like, if somebody sits down to an interview, if a celebrity goes on to have an interview with a reporter, and the reporter really nails them down, and they get in contact with like, this interview's fucking over. This is bullshit. I don't want this released. Does that mean that it's unethical for the person to release that then? Like, no, they agreed to have the interview. They agreed to record the questions being asked and the responses being had. And it doesn't matter if the person did or didn't like it or not. We would generally accept this as totally fine. And I don't understand how we have to make all these weird comparisons when we can just go one-to-one. This was an interview. She said, I don't like this. I don't want this to be released, which I think holds a little bit of different weight to me, I guess, but like she was ultimately okay with it.
You don't think you would value it differently that they have an agreed upon time slot versus a basically an agreement in perpetuity?
Can I put things in context here? I wasn't going to chime in on this part of the conversation, but I would like to say, it's one thing to consent to an interview. It's another thing to consent to negotiating terms of sex on camera in front of thousands of viewers. So I'm just saying.
It wasn't live though. It wasn't live.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it isn't live. It's still going to thousands of viewers. It's still going to thousands of viewers.
When it was, I guess the distinction is it consent to publishing it, but yeah, I think that's similar. That's similar. I think what Six said kind of gets to me.
Guys,
what Six said kind of compels me a little bit.
I didn't speak for 30 minutes, and I didn't speak for 30 minutes, Smith, and that was the most useless thing you could have contributed to the conversation after what I spoke. So can everybody please wipe out what Smith said from his head?
Shut the fuck up.
Completely fucking useless.
What Six said. What Six just shut the fuck up. What Sick just said.
You're
can
so
we just
bad
wipe,
at being
okay, can we just wipe off that
nasty
ass shit stain that we just heard?
From Smith?
Can we just get this shit stain out of my ears?
Not a lab supporter.
What Sick just said was kind of convinced. Oh, here's some more shit. And you're fucking gurgling going on. Which Sick just said actually convinced me a little bit. I think that the Jackass stuff is actually is kind of abuse. And in the same way that releasing these private conversations about negotiating sex is kind of abuse. This is kind of abuse that this is what I was saying. I do actually think that we accept a level of abuse in our society, but it is abusive. That Jackass stuff, you can't say those guys aren't abused, but they consent to it because it's like it's their job. They care about the content, whatever. We're all kind of consenting to abuse by being on this panel. And I think
abused,
true.
Our bouncers abused, our cops abused.
Sure. Yes. Sure. Yes.
Join the military abused.
But I have a point to make. So there's a level. So the reason that we put up with this shit is there's always a coercive element, and we need cops. So that's different. But with like being on
I need to bend you over.
Being
my goodness.
We like people on this stream are here because we want to be streamers or whatever. You could make a case for it's actually worse for us to be on this fucking stream than it is good for us. And if you could make that case, I would say it's abuse.
Yeah, and Queen Alexa is abusing us right now, so I guess you just have to leave.
God damn right,
Queen Alexa is very proud of that.
We all consented to be here.
That is abuse.
I'm saying I want to. I'm saying it's there's a level of I'm willingly putting myself through abuse. That's like what you're saying soft. I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with being soft, but if I left the panel, that would I don't know, like We all
What are
You're
you
right,
saying?
duh.
What the fuck?
we consent to things because of coercion. We do things we don't want to do because we're gonna get money or whatever. We like
That would
smack
be
ourselves in the balls
incentive.
with
Are
a
you
rake.
retarded?
Yeah, that's incentivization.
Yeah, it's
We
not
we smack
coercion.
ourselves in the
Coercion's
ball
different.
with on our balls with a rake and get blood all over ourselves and like ruin our
Speak for
fucking testicles.
yourself.
That's
you
actually
We
why
do
I'm
bald
that.
head.
here.
We do that because we want to be rich and famous.
Queen
Rich
Alexa
and
actually
famous.
said they
No,
were
I don't
gonna
think people get
smack
rich and
my
famous.
balls
We
with a
have
rake
private
when it
Not rich.
conversations.
Maybe
Jackass,
famous.
from Jackass. He's still using the Jackass analogy.
Look,
We have
I'm
private
look,
conversations with our
What the
I'm
partners.
fuck
just
Stardust had to
I'm
say.
just I'm just
So
here
okay,
because
Please.
I
I'll
have
shut up
About it.
and we're here
I'm
with
just here
Stardust.
because I advocate for self-harm. That's why I'm here. Elder Drazi knows it. I debated him on it. I'm
Right.
totally down with self-harm. I think self-harm is great.
It is self-harm to be on this panel. Yes.
So we talked a
I
little
think we
bit
should
about
dig into
waivers.
Alexa's
not for
background
me,
to see
but
who else she's harmed.
I ain't no little
Say-
Oh
bitch.
God,
So.
no, 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 no.
Yes! Wait, do it! Flip the script!
Not again, not again, not again, not again.
Who have
Wait,
you been abusing in the
I know
past?
you're
Huh?
about to
Who else have you
interject, Queen
lured onto
Alexa.
panels to abuse?
I know you're about
Let's see.
to.
Mad Latin is one of them, right? Let's start
Oh,
asking Mad
Jesus
Latin for
Christ!
2 seconds. You're memeing too hard. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Christ.
Alexa, I know you're gonna interject. It's fine. Stardust, what the fuck did you have to say?
Oh, I don't even remember now. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, thanks to Smeth's misogyny and talking over women on the panel. Jesus Christ.
So we talked about waivers a little bit. We talked about two-party consent and people recording things and whether or not you can release things. We're talking about the ethicality of releasing information
Yes.
and consent. Like I'm real big in the First Amendment auditing scene. Anything that is done in public can be recorded, and you can record and keep anything that you want. The question becomes when you go to publish something and when you're going to start making money off of the things that you're published, you open yourself up to liability by the people that are in the video to sue you potentially for some of the capital gains that you've made as a result of the content that you've made. So if
This was
Shaylin goes,
filmed
hey,
in
I don't want to
private.
be in that video, I'm going to sue Max because he made a bunch of money off of this video, she has a right to do that. But if they're out in a park and they go and have a conversation and it is in public, they're in a one-party recording state, that's Max's video and Max can do whatever he wants with it. The only issue comes up when he potentially starts making money off the video, and the only thing that the other party might have any claim to is some of the funds that they gain from it. They don't necessarily have the right to say, hey, you can't put that on the internet because I don't want other people to see it. It was a public conversation that you had in public that was recorded in public. There is no sense of privacy in that matter at all. You can say that it's abusive. You can say that it's not kind. You can say Max shouldn't have done that because it makes him a bad dude. But none of that shit fucking matters in this context. Again,
Okay. Can I just say Oregon
Dick gets
is
the
where
last
they
statement on this.
I just want to point out Oregon is where this was recorded. It was recorded in a private home. It is a two-party. It is an all-party consent state. Okay.
Okay. Easy.
Or in
All
their
right, last
case, a
question.
cringe party consent
Yeah,
state.
this
for
is the
them.
last question, and then we're done. All right, this is the big one. Will the article actually surmount to anything, or has Max lost his fucking marbles? Elder Drazi, go.
It really depends on what you mean. Will it amount to anything? I think that for some people, no matter what, it could. I think I've said this before. He could literally prove that Destiny was legitimately, like, non-debatably worse than Hitler in it, and people that are against the article are just going to like cope the fuck out of it no matter what. Or there could be literally nothing in the article whatsoever, and there will be people on Mrgirl's side who will act like he just, like, blew the case wide the fuck open. I don't know what is or isn't going to be in it. It seems like there's an idea about what this article is about, for a lot of people that are invested in talking about it, that I don't have the understanding that the article is going to be about. However, no matter what it has in it, I can say that I am going to marathon read all 100 plus pages in one sitting when it drops on stream, because I have no respect for myself.
All right, Smeth.
I don't really think it will amount to anything as far as Destiny is concerned, but I think it will be very useful to just have a public conversation about the abusive interpersonal and financial, the coercive dynamics between streamers of different power levels and stuff like that. I think it'll help me analyze myself and my own behavior. And I think it's just going to be a really healthy conversation in general. I don't think it really will amount to anything for Destiny. I think it might make some good content for him. But yeah, that's. I think it'll just be a really great conversation.
Go ahead, Chip.
Let me pause the fucking Tetris because I'm trying to redeem myself. I don't think the video is going to amount to anything because I think that Max has already fucking scrubbed off the face of the internet. So any context in which somebody is watching the video is not going to be a virginal context. It's always going to be a primed context. I kind of agree with Drazi in some ways on that regard. Beyond that, is it going to do something to Max and Destiny's personal life? So that the first one, is it going to do anything to the audience? Probably not. Is it going to do any of their personal life? Probably not the video itself, but whatever results after the video, undoubtedly. I do not think that releasing a 100-page document of somebody's life is not going to create blowback when the person you're releasing it on has at least 1 million eyes on them. Whether or not that's positive or not. The number one thing, if you, this is my suspicion, there are a lot of people that hate Destiny and they are looking to curry favor with new people all the time. There was the stream that happened with Mrgirl and a bunch of people that are on the left that have sort of become like scorned ex-Destiny orbiters. I think that the most likely thing that's going to happen is they're going to read that. It's going to affirm a couple of beliefs they have. People are on the other side are going to read it. It's going to affirm beliefs they have about Max being abusive and predatory with the information. And then everybody's going to go back to their normal fucking life. The only question is Max going to get sued? Is Destiny going to have relationship issues or personal issues that happen inside of his life because of it? And only time will tell on that shit.
Zonia.
I largely agree with both Smith and the guy with the pedo mustache.
Thank you.
Oh, not me. Okay, cool.
No, you have the pornographer's mustache. Keep going.
Yeah, I think it's going to provoke an interesting conversation. I think we'll possibly learn about a lot of the dynamics in the space, and of course, it'll get turned into content for a lot of people. But I don't have any way to say whether or not there's going to be anything of particular merit within the document itself. So when you talk about is it going to amount to anything, it'll surely amount to things after the fact, but whether or not there's merit to the contents of the document, I don't know. That there's no way for me to say for certain. But I don't think it matters whether or not there's merit to the document. Why? Because it's a massive fucking shit show and everybody's going to capitalize on it. And that's the thing that everybody cares about, right? As for blowback for Steven's life, I think there's probably going to be very little blowback other than that his existing haters, certain content creators that capitalized on hating on Destiny and being enemies of his, they're probably going to be able to also capitalize it on a way that they normally, don't have as much to capitalize on, right? Because it'll be a pretty large document with a whole bunch of stuff that they can spin in any number of different ways to draw more audience into their streams. So that's about the only thing I really can say for certain that we're probably going to see out of it.
Wait, well, Mrgirl's going to get harassed
Nope,
endlessly no matter
don't
what.
care. Stardust go. Don't care. Stardust go.
Yeah, both of these people are going to have this used against them. Mrgirl, like Eldrazi is trying to say, Mrgirl will probably get some flack for it. But guess what? Destiny's probably going to have all of his haters have a new arsenal of things to use against him every time they want to drive the knife in a little bit further. So there's that. I think it's spiteful. I think it's very clearly spite. It's driven by spite. And I think that it's at the end of the day, I think if Mrgirl is writing about all the ways that he thinks Steven is abusive, then he has double the amount of pages to write about himself.
I think that would be really cool.
He's done it before, and I wish he would get back to it. We all want to hear him say that he raped somebody again. We don't want it to happen again, but we want to hear it again.
This is actually something that I reached out to him about, because
did we completely bypass me?
I didn't go
I think that
either.
Alexa went to sleepy time, and I think that I was next in the list, and then
Oh.
Smeth is after me.
Sorry, it just felt like it
sorry,
opened up. My bad.
Yeah, my apologies.
Well,
A
can
bunch
I
of things were happening.
finish one thing? Let me just
Sure.
say, let me tack on. I shouldn't have even said double. I mean, I think there's just infinitely more things that Mr. Girl could write about himself, tell on himself about. If he considers these dynamics with Destiny to be abusive, then he definitely creates similar dynamics with other people, if not worse. And so I don't think that there's like a whole lot of like you know I don't think there's a whole lot of fuel here, honestly, for whatever he's writing, but we'll see what happens, I guess. So, yeah.
All right, Alexa, I'm gonna go because you're gone.
No,
So-
sick go. I'm sorry. There's a bunch of things going on.
What's happening?
Sick, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to point
So-
out, even if the article was going to have any credibility, even if it was going to do anything to Destiny, I think Mr. Girl has already fucked the bucket. We know from leaks that basically what he's telling a lot of the people that he's interviewing, or most of them, if I were to assume, is that he's saying, hey, do you have any bad stories on Destiny? I already have people who are saying yada, 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 yada. Anybody would know, if you've ever watched a court case, that this is essentially just tainting your witnesses. It's tainting their testimonies. Essentially, what they're saying can't be taken at face value because you've now allowed them to feel like anything they say is going to be validated. I think it's a messy situation. I think Mr. Girl doesn't know how to do an investigation. So even if it had merit, nobody cares anymore.
I do agree with you, Sick. I said to him directly, I don't think he should be the one running this investigation. That's the worst thing that he could have possibly done with it.
So, just for context, what happened is Reservoir server has been completely taken over, and I've been watching it delete itself.
Whoa.
Fuck.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Yes. Leave Reservoir server
admins?
right now. Yeah. Leave
All
Reservoir
right.
server because they're inviting more people, more hackers are joining in, trying to take it all over.
What's it called? I'm in like a million.
Registan was a backwards moon. First thing is backwards.
I don't know,
moon.
man. I think I would like to promote my stream to these people. So
yeah. That's what I got like sidetracked because it got pinged a million.
I do have a message in my yeah.
Oh, I'm just friends with him. I'm not in his server, I guess.
I guess I'm not.
Got his ass.
He messaged
all right,
me.
Well, all right. Yeah. All right, Ginger, go ahead.
Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
Fuck. Oh yeah. Will the article amount to anything, or has Mr. Girl lost his marbles?
It very well could amount to something. If he's found something on Destiny that's not previously public, then obviously there's going to be like a big hoopla about it. I think the biggest thing all is it's just going to give everybody a lot of content. Like, I mean, I plan on reading it to my audience in a dramatic reading. That's what I do. So, let's have fun with it, shall we?
Hey, most
Okay,
importantly, by the way, quick interruption. For those of you
Yeah.
who have Reservoir in your server, and especially for those of you who have any kind of special permissions assigned to him, like creator permissions or whatever, kick him out of your server.
Good.
Yeah, and for Zonia,
and-
you need to demod Yamato again. His account is still compromised.
Again? Oh my gosh.
Again, his
Oh
account
my-
is still compromised.
My
I was
God.
gonna say
Yamato.
Yamato sending that fucking link out.
Yes, Yamato was the first person that happened in here. He was in VC with us, and he was like, "Something weird's fucking happening." We're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, I got hacked." I was like, "Are you retarded?"
Wait, are we blocking, or are we
We're-
deleting, or what are we doing with
No,
Yamato?
I remember
just-
I
We're
banned him
fighting
from
him
my
IRL.
server, so I banned
Yeah,
him
we're
from my
just-
server. So
Yeah, we're just banning.
Yeah,
the
do a
account.
ban for now. You can unban him later. You don't want to do a kick because he can get an invite back in, right? So, and
Yeah,
if you got
true.
anything with sticky rolls, they're gonna re-get all those rolls if they come back in.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds-
And now somebody online.
Yeah, so will this amount to anything? I think that it's going to amount to about the same thing that the Dr. K manifesto that he did amounted to, which is there's going to be a bunch of people that watch it, a bunch of people are going to read it, everybody's going to kind of go, whoa, Destiny is going to continue being Destiny, everything is going to be exactly the way that it always was for him. Yeah, he might get a little bit of flack from people that are already giving him flack. Mrgirl, unfortunately, has kind of put himself into a position where the only people that watch him, that pay attention to him, are people that already agree with him. There are going to be more people that watch this, mostly to try to see the fireworks go on because Destiny is the target of this thing. But again, there's not going to be any criminal charges that come as a result of this. Destiny isn't going to lose any platforms that he's on as a result of this. And Mrgirl is just going to look like Mrgirl at the end of it all.
Floor's open.
What'd you say, Alexa?
Floor's open.
Floor open.
Floor's
Floor
open.
Oh, floor is
Real
open.
interesting question, Alexa. Nobody fucking disagrees. We want to move on?
Floor's open.
Well,
Floor's
does
Oh,
everybody like I assume that a lot of people here don't give a shit, but Mrgirl is gonna get an obscene amount of harassment. Like we've already seen some pretty malicious things happen. Like I think it's pretty public now that there was a dox, and like lots of threats and things like that. I think that's gonna ramp up a whole lot. Which
Dude,
I'm
there's,
personally worried
like,
about.
That's all self-inflicted. Like,
Yeah, and Steven's
that's the
gonna get
thing.
a lot too.
I don't care
Yeah.
anybody. I don't care if anybody does anything that people think earns them
Here.
that kind of treatment. I'm still concerned about it. I still think that it's fucked up. I'm never gonna
Sure.
see that somebody pissed a bunch of people off and go, well, they brought it on themselves. I don't care about that.
Sure, like we do. Obviously, it sucks. It's shitty. These should not be the kinds of consequences. Like one of the things I learned yesterday is that they're actually on Kiwi Farms. They're creating a dedicated thread for Lav right now, and multiple
Yep.
of us have gotten the info on that. So
Yep.
and that's shitty. That's really really shitty. That shouldn't be the case. It sucks to be A-logged. It sucks to have people just stalking you constantly and lolcowing you and everything. That really really sucks. But also it's the same kind of thing. You go into a certain environment, you got to be kind of aware of what you're going into. You know, when you go and if you go and visit somebody at a prison or you go there to like do a tour or a documentary or something, you know what happens? You basically sign your life away going into that environment. You say, shit, these are the conditions of the environment. These are the risks. These are hardened criminals. This is the kind of behavior you can expect from them. We can't make any guarantees. And if you're taken as hostage, we may have to shoot through you. Right? Those are the things that you are informed of when you're going into the environment. Now, we don't really have like an organized way of informing people when they come into this internet environment. It's sort of like a general thing that you become exposed to over time as you grow up with internet access. So I don't think that they were unaware of the conditions of the environment and the risks of it and the risks of like the kind of behavior that they engage in. But considering the age at which that they are entering into this space, both of them, neither of them should be granted like naivety in this. They should have been aware, yeah, these are the conditions of the environment that you're going into and doing some crazy shit in. And unfortunately, the backlash you're going to get is going to be disproportionate. That sucks. It's shitty. It'd be nice for us to kind of change that culture, but I don't even know how to begin to change that culture.
I think we can just kind of. I think we can do it our own. As we can set standards for our own behavior and we can lead by example. If
Naruto
Destiny
moment. Like
if Destiny was receptive to some fucking criticism, then maybe he could set an example. But that's not gonna fucking happen.
No, he actually, dude, the dude banned to all talk of Lav for a long time, and Max, right? Banned it from his subreddit, banned it from his community.
He's gone on to Max's subreddit to talk shit about him, signaling to all of his fucking fans, if you want to talk shit about Max, go to his fucking subreddit. That's where you can do it, baby.
That's where it's supposed to be, right? It shouldn't be
let's take all our toxicity from our massive community. Let's ban it from our community. Make sure you go to his community with it. That's how it's supposed to be. What the fuck is that?
He doesn't. He's banning all talk of it, right?
Yeah, he banned all talk of it from his incubated space, right? So you're not
No,
allowed to form
Is
like a
it
little hate
Destiny's
That's
posse
not
fault that
true.
in
Mr.
his
Girl's
community.
standards are fucking different? That's
Wait,
Mr.
Well,
Girl's
he
standards. That's
revoked the
not
ban.
Destiny's.
He revoked the ban over the last several days because of the whole
he
fallout
banned
shit with Lav
people
and you
saying
and
it
me.
in one direction. He banned people talking about Mr. Girl if it's favorable to Mr. Girl,
No,
but not.
No.
I
It was
talked to him
all the
about
talk was
this.
banned.
No.
It was
Okay.
pinned in his
Absolutely
fucking
not.
subreddit and was banned
Okay.
across all of his spaces.
Well, maybe at a certain point, but there was a time where I talked to Destiny himself about this. I have a video about it where he admits to this, that it was okay for people to talk shit about Mr. Girl, but it wasn't okay for people to talk positively about him. That was a big problem that Benny and I had with him, and we talked to him about it.
That is a big
That's-
misrepresentation of
yeah.
that situation. The whole point that Destiny was making when he was talking about that is it's schizo defenders and attackers of Destiny and Mr. Girl. It had nothing to do with what they were criticizing. It had everything to do with the type of person levying the criticism. Is that if you're just some schizo chatter who's writing a 500-page post that is incoherent, it doesn't have anything to do with what they're actually trying to criticize, he's gonna fucking ban you because you're not adding to the quality of the subreddit at all.
Well, you
And
can
I
tell
will,
Destiny
I will
because
Sounds like
say,
it makes sense, but it doesn't. I don't think you
say,
said anything.
I will say, for people who want to say that in in Destiny's chat, you can talk shit about Mr. Girl. Sure, you certainly can't link to a subreddit. How do I know that? Because I linked Smeth's thread in Destiny's chat, and I got banned for it. I have to wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow, rip me. I have to wait 24 hours before I can talk about Mr. Girl in Destiny's chat again.
True oppression.
Somebody in my
You
chat
can't
said
even
I was
link
wrong
to the
about it too,
subreddit.
but if I'm wrong about it, then that's on Destiny because he admitted as much to us. Then if we were wrong, then Destiny was also wrong about it as well. I talked to him about it.
So all I know is that until a few days ago it was pinned in the subreddit that you can't talk about, you can't do any posts about Max or Lav, and there were people who were getting banned from DGG chat for like memeing on or or making comments about that shit or drama baiting basically.
I didn't know you meant
trying to
recently.
post stuff that Max.
I'm talking about back in November.
It got yeah, I don't remember the conditions that were set at the time. I wasn't paying close attention to what like the state of the situation was in his community, but but he revoked it in the last few days because of the whole big drama with Lab that happened on the tuna chip hangout, right? So then it got revoked. It was no longer in the subreddit pin there anymore, and the rules had changed. Now you could freely talk about Lav and Max because it was peak drama. So may as well just let people do their talking. Now, what I would push back on Smith about is that I don't know about Steven like instructing his audience to go over to Max's subreddit, but Max's subreddit is there for both positive statements as well as general discourse and for critique. So yes, if you're going to be critiquing Max, his subreddit is absolutely the place to go if you're going to do like a general critique or, his hotline if you want to talk to him directly or something, right?
Sure.
I could be
But,
mistaken, but I think Smith's saying it's different if you say it than if Destiny's saying it when it's going on.
I don't know.
I didn't say Destiny. I don't know. I don't think Destiny told his fans to do it. I think Destiny went on to Mr. Girl's subreddit to talk about that shit and fucking drama and shit, which signals to while Mr. Girl is banned from his own subreddit, which signals to all of them that if they want to talk shit, they can go there.
I don't know. Like, I figure if I wanted to go and post, like I did this with Vosh years ago, I posted a long critique, a lengthy critique on Vosh in his own subreddit, and I was a big fan of Vosh. I was actually one of his pretty well-known subscribers and such, right? And a regular viewer. So it just kind of makes sense to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. I feel like if I post a lengthy critique of Destiny in Destiny's subreddit, I'll get banned.
No, I've seen plenty of people do it. I've seen him read through them before. Now, sometimes if he feels that they're bad faith, yeah, he bans them. But overall, most of the ones I've seen him read off, he'll be like, I don't really agree with this, but whatever, and he'll just move on.
If that's true, I would be very. I would change my opinion entirely if that was true.
I think that you can disagree with Destiny for the most part in his subreddit.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
All right, look, we've been going for 2.5 hours. I feel like this has it's lived its life. All right, this was the first ever love panel. Went pretty well. You know,
I felt a lot of love here, especially
I
like
did
between
feel
as
Smith
any
and
well.
love.
me.
I'm very disappointed by the way that this entire thing went. I'm disgusted at all of you people. I thought that we were here to like give good faith takes of what we actually feel about Mr. Girl and Lab in this situation. I thought we were trying to help people, and frankly, I feel like you guys all came in here and just smeared shit all over the fucking walls. This has been terrible. I'm pissed off at all of you people, and I don't know if I'm going to be talking to any of you again until at least tomorrow.
Look, I'd like to say something. Since this is a love panel, hey Smith, I said some pretty cutting things. I'm sorry, I was a little
I know,
heated.
no, it's fine. It's fine.
But I actually do have respect for what you do content wise. One of the things I told Katie when she was asking me about you, I was like, honestly, he's come into his own. I think originally, and this is what I told her, you did have like a lot of Max's talking points and kind of frame of arguing and such, but you've evolved a lot since then. And honestly, I think that you've come into your own and created sort of your own way of viewing things and arguing for them. And I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So I was kind of leaning on like an old meme to make some cutting
I
insults toward you.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
We're all here.
Hey y'all.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi. Were y'all saying hi?
I think we lost one.
Hello? Oh, I accidentally flipped my volume down. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, well, thank you. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, this closing statements. What you thought about the love panel, and then shout yourself out. Thank you all for coming. So we'll start with Zonia.
Yo, you may know me from scenes like yelling with Mr. Girl, clashing with Mr. Girl,
It's been
cancel
pretty good,
culture with Mr.
Watsaku.
Girl,
It's nice to see you
blackface
too,
with
buddy.
Mr. Girl. Yeah, a lot of you know me from Mr. Girl's community from way back because I was one of the early
Good
people to
news.
kind
I'm
of
also streaming on
find
YouTube.
a
You can
little bit
watch
of a
the VOD as
kinship
soon
with
as this is
him
over.
and to advocate for him. And I really
I was a
enjoyed
little late.
that history that we had. I thought that was pretty cool. It was an interesting thing to sort of grow with him through. But at a certain point, I kind of have to draw the line and say, you know what?
If you're watching on
I
YouTube,
can't
please
deal with
like
this.
the
This is
stream.
unethical. This is
It
abusive.
shows
This
that
is
it's very,
manipulative,
very good for
etc.
me if you do
And so
so.
I had to draw those lines in the sand. And I think at this point, I've just kind of decided to sever ties entirely because of certain things that I've seen and certain almost malicious seeming behaviors that make me really go like, yikes, this is bad. I don't want anything to do with this person. So you're hearing a lot more
Click on
from me
Twitch,
right
follow me.
now
It's
than you heard
free.
over previous months about my views of
YouTube,
Max, just
give me a
because
sub. It's
I
free. Come
feel
on.
like I really need to say something and really kind of open up
Got
about
some
what
cool
I've been
stuff coming up.
feeling with the whole situation. I
Promise.
really liked Max. I liked him a lot. And I kind of still do in some ways. There's a part of me that feels like, man, I wish he would just sort of like things could go back to the way they were months ago. But that's not going to happen. And unfortunately, there's been some damage that's done, and I don't think these are ever going to get repaired. But yeah, so that's sort of my position. If you choose to continue supporting Max, that's fine. More power to you. Just try to keep your eyes open when you are. Otherwise, I am Zonia. My channel on Twitch is Zonia Dead, or on YouTube it's Zonia TV. And you can also see me on Twitter with some spicy takes and some feuding with Lav at Void Zonia.
And then the tweets get deleted. All right, Tuna Chip.
Hello.
Tuna.
Final statements. I'm gonna say, I think that we've been talking about Lav and Mr. Girl like they're these super interesting case studies. I don't think that there's anything particularly unique about them. I do think that there are critiques that can be made. So whenever it comes down to it, when we're fucking looking at these people, you can be really simple about those critiques. Lav is avoidant and lonely and seems to have some like fucking BPD ass behaviors. Mr. Girl has the same shit and these are emotional people. These are just like fucking emotional people, and we don't like the way that they're engaging in the space. That's it. That doesn't mean you have to hate people. So yeah, you can love people and share love and human dignity on the level where you're like, damn, don't fucking engage with people if they're doing something that you think is self-destructive and destructive to those around them. That's it.
Smith.
I am Smeth. You can find me on YouTube at Real Smeth. One word, Real Smeth. I recently made a video about my experience with AGP and not transitioning, and how anybody can have a healthy, productive, and sexy relationship to autogynephilia.
Fucking degenerate. Oh my god.
You can
I
watch
shame
my
thee.
streams. I do interviews and conversations, and you check me out. I'm also on Twitter, Real Smeth, the Real Smeth. Just look for Smeth. When you find Smeth, you get a dose of fucking Smethadone.
All right, somebody online, my interview partner.
Hey, Queen Alexa, thank you very much for putting this whole thing together. I kind of had like a silly little idea that, hey, we should have this conversation about this thing again to try to help people and try to bring all of the people that have, the most concern and weight in these topics together and try to get to the bottom of this. Unfortunately, I don't know if we had, some of the compassion that I was really hoping for and that I was looking for in this thing. But, this has been a very fruitful conversation. I think a lot of things have been aired out and said that we needed to have said. I really wish that Mrgirl or Lab or Destiny would have had the cojones to come on here and actually come and contribute to some of this at some point. But, you can't expect people like that to want to be involved in a thing like this. I am somebody online. You guys can find me here. You can find me in the political shit show. I have my own Discord where I do my BOEM dialogues where we try to come to mutual understandings with one another and try to actually share good information and learn about other people's perspectives. So come and find me there. Come and find my stream. Come and be a part of the interview process. If you think there's somebody that I need to talk to or something that we're not talking about on here, please let me know what that is, because I do want to try to get down to the heart and the meat of some of these issues with your help, of course.
This was somebody's idea, so a round of applause to him. He did give me this idea. So go follow somebody online. Stardust.
Hey, I'm Stardust. You can find me twitch.tv/Stardust, youtube.com/Stardust streams. I'm on Twitter at tweets from Star. I am somebody who was very close and very I had a very close friendship with Mrgirl. One that I've never had. I don't think I've had with any other streamer prior to him. Um, and I really valued that friendship. I stuck my neck out for him a lot. I was maybe one of the first people in the space to give him a chance to humanize him on my stream, and I caught a lot of shit for it. I caught a lot of shit for it from everybody, virtually everybody across, every political leaning.
Even your mods.
Yeah, even my mods, right? There were even people who cut off all contact from me when I stuck my neck out and became a friend to him. And I went through a lot of shit for him. I put myself through a lot of beatings for him in a really public manner. And I don't think he ever appreciated that. I don't think he ever will. I think that he is very manipulative, and I think he I think he wants to get what he can get out of you, whether that's a reaction, whether that's like a, something in specific for content, or whether that's something else. He wants to get what he wants to get out of you, and he will go through any means possible to get that out of you. And if he hurts you in the process, he doesn't give a fuck. Um, and and then if you try to tell him that you don't feel the way that he thinks you feel, he won't listen to you. That's what I would say. Him writing this article is spite driven, and it's sad to see, because he could be making much more meaningful content. He has made better content in the past, and I think that he's wasting his time with this. And if he's going to call out Destiny for having an abusive dynamic, I think he should look in the mirror and look at the dynamics that he has with other people. And I think that's the rest of what I had to say about him. I will say that I am doing a deep dive into Gamergate right now, and I will be interviewing Brianna Wu on Friday about it. And then starting next week, we'll be doing deep dives into Nikocado Avocado. So come check me out. Thanks.
And Sick.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I just want to say, Mrgirl, Mr. Girl mod team. I'm still waiting on that T-shirt. Anytime you guys want to send it, I'd be more than appreciative. Second of all, I just want to point out, if you're getting a message from Mrgirl saying that he's developing a game and he wants you to click a link, absolutely click that link. I can co-sign everything that's going on with his
Shut
account.
up, sick.
You
So
get
many
that
people
message from
that actually
anybody.
like it.
If you get
But
that message
hey,
from
these are my
anybody,
closing statements. You guys are abusing me right now. I
you deserve
check me
it.
out. It's twitch.tv/sickunchained. It's on screen. I also have a Twitter and a YouTube. YouTube's kind of inactive. I cover drama. I do all the fun shit. If you want politics, the only thing we're defending right now is usage of gamer words, such as the N-word. Okay, so that's it.
Base, can you say the N-word real quick?
I can't because of TOS. It's a cultural change, okay? And it's slow. It's a slow process.
Right, Sib, you look like the kind of guy that would support that, just visually.
Yeah. All right, Ginger.
I am Gingeremma at twitch.tv/Gingeremma. I do gaming, panels, cosplay, and I do dramatic readings now of ridiculous things. I right now am doing a dramatic reading of Why Women Deserve Less by Myron Gaines. And we are on chapter 5 and only 25 pages in. So if you guys are interested, come on by.
Elder Drazi.
Hi, I'm Elder Drazi. Most people know me as the guy who they thought was Smeth at first. I'm on Twitch and YouTube, Twitter. It's all Elder Drazi. I think the thing that I really want to leave people with is if you guys think that Mrgirl is abusive, the panelists and audience alike, if you think that Mrgirl's abusive and the things that you've seen in his videos are abusive, I think you should really challenge yourself and ask like why that is, because I haven't heard very compelling reasons, and if it is abusive, then I definitely need to stop role playing the real doll video with my wife and girlfriend. Wife obviously being the real doll in that scenario. So I need somebody to convince me because I don't want to abuse my partners.
You got the deal. You got the deal that Max wasn't able to get.
Yeah, I just heard my wife laugh from the bedroom. Yeah, my partners are super cool. Except for like my girlfriend really wants to be the doll, and I said no, she hasn't earned it yet. Yes?
I was just gonna say I want to be the doll so you can wear my face.
There you go. I will wear your face.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's got like next level horses here.
Some
definitely some goodbye horses shit going on.
A signed female at birth, by the way. It's not even a normal Mrgirl fan.
And
yeah, this isn't usual male socialization that we're used to getting.
If I don't say this at the end here, I'm gonna be in trouble. Portland got very mad at me for not saying that. Tuna, I love you and Portland like equally. He got very mad at the beginning when I said that.
Take that
I'm
shit
a
back,
big fan
you
of yours.
fucking coward.
I said
You
that
got a
Portland wanted me
DM,
to
you
say it.
started pussying up. You're gonna be
I
sucking
said he
my
wanted to
dick
say.
after this.
That's it for me.
Just so
Thanks
your
for having me
girlfriend
on.
can have a little taste when you kiss next time. Keep going.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming. Discord.gg/political shit show. Queen Alexa 148 on Twitter. I just started there. Please go follow me. I just started. And now get the fuck out of my VC. Yeah, and get the fuck out of the VC. Fuck off.
All right.
I'm
Bye-bye.
sick of you people.
That was fun. I liked that. It was good. Trying to think. I think I got some stuff coming up here. I'm trying to think what is like worth mentioning. I do plan on doing a stream that it's not like super at liberty to talk about soon. But I haven't been streaming lately. I got a tooth pulled, and just some other stuff's been going on. But I'll be back to a normal schedule. I think on Monday. That conversation gave you ear cancer. I'm sorry. Or sorry, yeah, even this weekend, my wife's gonna be gone for like the whole next week, so I got nothing better to do but to stream. I have reached out to a couple people. We're gonna be streaming over the course of the week, and I plan on putting out at least one YouTube video that hasn't been streamed. Hopefully two. They should be really good. One of them is a movie review. A double feature movie review with a little bonus extra in there as well. And I'm gonna try really hard, since I have all this time myself, to put out the vasectomy review. I got my Premiere Pro back, so I can actually sit down and grind that out. Don't watch it if you're squeamish or if you're under 18. I think that's it. I was sleeping and I was late to this, and so I'm very tired. I'm gonna get out of here, but if you subscribe to me today on Twitch, thank you very much. If you subscribed on YouTube, thank you very much. If you like this stream, I appreciate you a whole lot. This was fun. There's some stuff that I wish I could have said. Panels are rough, but maybe I'll have a follow-up with one or two of the other panelists about this in a bit more of an intimate setting. So I'm gonna shoot for that too. All right, take care. Have a good night. I am going to put on the hotline, and at Mrgirl.tv, he's doing the Mr. Girl hotline right now. So if you're a fan of Mr. Girl, go check it out. All right, I'm outie.